gentlemen, my name is Elizabeth Musa, and it is my honor to serve you this morning as your master of ceremonies. I'm a broadcast journalist. I work with BusinessDay, and I'm also a professional compere. And I stand before you this morning as your MC. Thank you so much for coming. Once again, a round of applause for yourselves, please. Before we weave our way into the heart of today's conversation, I want to ask us a very simple question. We know that our theme for today is thriving in Nigeria's AI-driven work economy. So I'm going to read out two statements for you, and I want you to please tell me which one is AI-driven or AI written and the one that's written by a human being. It's very easy. Statement A. The organization must leverage cross-functional synergies to drive scalable productivity optimization. The second one, we need our teams talking to each other so we can actually get work done faster. Which of them is AI? The first one, obviously, it's so obvious. So you just hear leverage, optimize, all of those things. And that's right here at the heart of today's conversation. AI can optimize processes, but human talent is what builds the culture that we are all about. So thank you all for coming. Please join me as I make welcome for the opening address this morning, the editor of Business Day, Mr. Ololade Akimurele, as he comes up for the opening address.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Good morning, distinguished guests. My task this morning is very simple. It's to provide the opening speech, and then I'll get out of your way to just enjoy the exciting lineup of conversations that will be having here this morning. Nigeria is entering one of the most consequential transitions in the history of work, and I'll explain why. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant technological promise. It is actively reshaping how organizations operate, how value is created, and how nations compete. Having observed Nigeria's workforce evolution for over 3 decades, from traditional personnel management to modern human capacity strategy, it is evident that the AI era represents the most profound disruption yet. Globally, AI is expected to contribute up to $15.7 trillion. Yes, $15.7 trillion to the world economy by 2030, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. At the same time, McKinsey, the global consulting firm, estimates that up to 30% of current work activities could be automated, while millions of workers worldwide will need to transition into new roles requiring advanced digital and cognitive capabilities. These global realities are unfolding rapidly within Nigeria's labor markets. Nigeria possesses a powerful demographic advantage with a median age of about 18 years and over 60% of its population under 25. The country has one of the largest youth talent pools globally. However, this advantage can only translate into economic growth if talent development keeps pace with technological change. Employers increasingly prioritize adaptability, digital fluency, emotional intelligence, and cross-disciplinary thinking over credentials alone. Simultaneously, universities, training institutions, corporate learning systems face growing pressure to realign with evolving industry needs. Experience across leading economies shows that countries that succeed in AI-driven environments are not necessarily those with the most advanced technologies, but those with the most agile workforce strategies. The ability to continuously reskill talent, redesign jobs, and build human AI collaborative frameworks will define competitiveness and productivity in the coming decade. The Business Day Talent Management Conference was established as a strategic platform to address these urgent realities. This year's theme, Thriving in Nigeria's AI-driven work economy, reflects our own commitment to moving beyond theoretical dialogue toward actionable, measurable workforce solutions for organizations and individuals. Nigeria's greatest strategic asset remains its people. If deliberately developed and future-proofed, this human capital can become the foundation for sustainable economic expansion. Through this conference, businesses seek to catalyze partnerships, policy thinking, and leadership action that will position Nigerian talent to compete and lead in the intelligent global economy. Thank you. Allow me to welcome you once again to the third edition of the Talent Management Conference, and I do assure you that our lineup of activities today would really be very insightful for you, and you have a lot to take away. I'll just keep it that short and simple. Thank you.
All right, as we move forward in the conversation today, it's all about AI. But just before I bring up on stage the keynote speaker for the keynote address, I want to ask us a simple question. When we talk about the AI driven workforce, what does it mean for you personally? I just need quick show of hands, one or two people. When you talk about an AI driven workforce, what would that look like for you in year 2026? Just quick show of hands, anyone? Oh, there's somebody there. Okay. And do I have any other person? Please, can I get the mic to him?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yusuf. So when we speak, I'll talk about AI-driven workforce. Simply is where people lead technology, where AI self-empowers what we do. Simply.
Fantastic. Where people lead technology? Absolutely. Please put your hands together for Mr. Yusuf. Do we have any other person who just wants to chime into that? There's a lady there. I like that. So please, the lady in white.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bodri Oladeye. When we talk about AI-driven workforce, what comes to my mind is a workforce that is conscious about the fact that the world is evolving, the technology that is available, a workforce that is very, very conscious and willing to embrace AI and all other examples of the entire spectrum of technology, and use that, leverage that to improve the delivery from the workforce.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for her as well. Thank you very much. And now, as we weave ourselves into the heart of today's conversation, I'd like to bring up on stage our keynote speaker this morning. Our keynote speaker is a seasoned lawyer, is a human resource leader, and management professional with over 35 years of experience spanning the public and private sectors. He holds degrees in history, business administration, and law from Ahmadu Bello University and was called to the Nigerian bar in 2004. He has held senior executive roles, including Managing Director or CEO of Crystal Hope Kaduna Limited and Group General Manager and Senior HR Business Lead Partner at Dangote Cement PLC, where he provided strategic HR leadership across multiple African countries. His expertise covers corporate governance, organizational development, industrial relations, and large-scale workforce transformation. He's a fellow of CIPM, NIM, and CLOD Nigeria, and he brings deep boardroom experience and is widely respected for his contributions to human capital development. Our keynote speaker this morning is none other than the president and chairman of the governing council of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, Mr. Ahmed Ladan Gobir, but is well represented here this morning by the immediate past president of the CIPM, Mr. Olusegun Moji. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up for the keynote. And please do it. Let's make it more robust. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. What season are we in? Yes, I just came in from Canada. I can tell you it's very cold. But here in Nigeria, Abba, we are blessed with all the year-round winter. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you wonder what I was doing in Canada. I went to do Omugo too. Yes, wise men should do joint Omugo. Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. Part of my protocol, I've seen a couple of my colleagues seated here who are distinguished fellows of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. Demola, where are you? I saw you earlier. Okay. Thank you very much. And of course, one of our speakers too, Adora Ikwemesi, is an FCIPM. In CIPM, we do not award fellowship. You earn it. Yeah, you earn it. In case you are here and you are an FCIPM, I missed you out. That's a big offense. You can just wave to me. Don't worry, I'll take you for lunch. But those are the two I have seen this morning. Distinguished guests and panelists, business leaders, professionals, innovators, policymakers, and friends here seated. I want to say good morning once again. And my name is Olusegun Majid, just like Elizabeth said. I'm here representing the president and chairman of the governing council of CIPM. Apparently, if you look at that picture, although people say we resemble, I don't know. So because of that, I've decided to now be sporting this white so that we can be differentiated. That's the man I handed over to, a very gentleman to the core, and is building on the legacies we left behind. So I'm glad here this morning to be representing him, and I'm reading his speech. So please, don't, when I sit down, don't come and be asking questions. No jump question. No. I just want to enjoy today. As an elder statesman, there's no success without a successor, Abi? But this gentleman is doing greatly for our institute. I'm truly happy to be here today. And let me say this plainly. This conference mattered enough for me to make time for it. He wrote this by himself, so we had time. But sincerely, recently it's just been elevated in his organization, and there is a board meeting all day today. So that's why I couldn't be here. That's what they call unavoidably absent. So please bear with us. He was ready before the board meeting took him away. Not because AI is trending, but because this conversation is about talent. And in Nigeria, talent has always been our strongest advantage, even when we don't always manage it well. There's war for talent, and there's war on talent. In this country, we do not suffer from a lack of talent. We suffer from talent frustration. We have brilliant people, we have smart people, and we have creative people. People who can build solutions in imperfect systems and still produce world-class results. Little wonder, global companies are now taking Nigeria talent seriously. Not just abroad, but right here at home. Many are hiring our people without moving them, employing Nigerians while they remain in Nigeria, competing globally from their living rooms, co-working spaces, and laptops. And thankfully, AI has played a role in this shift. AI has made work borderless. It has made skills more visible. It has made opportunities more accessible. Today, a Nigerian professional can sit in Lagos, Ibadan, Enugu, or Kano and solve problems for organizations in London, Berlin, Toronto, New York, and Dubai. We produce some of the smartest professionals in this world. The same people solving complex problems abroad are products of this system. So the issue has never been the capacity. The real issue has been how we nurture, deploy, and retain our talents, especially in an AI-driven work economy. And that is why this conversation matters. Now let's talk about AI itself. These days, many of us no longer ask the colleague beside us, have you done this before? You had Elizabeth earlier on giving us two statements. Elizabeth, next time, don't make it so obvious. Because this AI thing, at times you won't be able to know the difference. We ask AI quietly, confidently, and sometimes repeatedly. For some people, AI has become the colleague that never complains, never sleeps, and never asks for a promotion. In fact, when I read a very polished email these days, I pause, actually. I squint a little, and I ask myself, is this from Elizabeth or from Chat GPT? I'm sure I'm not alone, even from your response. Not long ago, someone forwarded me an email, and before I finished the second paragraph, I said out loud, this looks like AI. The same structure, the same rhythm, and the same perfect politeness. The one thing AI does, check the one in your phone. He will even call you buddy. So me too, now I respond to, hey friend, are you there? I need this, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the night. And before you know it, I get the response. But I know if I call you, your phone will be switched off. So, Okay. And it doesn't stop there. AI has entered our social media spaces so deeply that we can no longer tell what is real and what is rendered. Recently, I saw a video on TikTok of a baby dancing perfectly to a popular song. The steps were flawless, precise, confident, and on beat. The comment section, of course, did not disappoint. You know how social media comments can be. Sometimes it makes you feel like you've traveled back in time. Many people on the comment section confidently declare that the baby is naturally born with Nigerian group already installed. Only later did they realize something very important. It wasn't a baby at all. It was artificial intelligence. That moment made me laugh, but it also made me think. Because when technology can imitate talent, your movement, your language, and even your emotion, the question before us is no longer, what can AI do? The real question is, what must we do better as humans? That brings us to our theme, thriving in Nigeria's AI-driven work economy. Artificial intelligence is no longer the future. If you are still waiting for it to arrive, then you are probably stuck in year 2000, I guess. AI is already our everyday. According to Google and Ipsos 2026 report titled Our Life with AI, it says that 88% of Nigerian adults now use AI tools for learning, work, and business, far above the global average. This tells us something important. Nigerians are not spectators. We are adopters, we are innovators, but please note that AI will transform work, but it will not replace humans. Rather, humans who use AI will replace humans who do not. Jobs are not disappearing, they are evolving. Accountants now work with analytics. Marketers now partner with algorithms. HR professionals now manage people and platforms. I hope you know that people they check you now when they want to interview, they want to see your social media platforms too and see what you have been doing. If you want to visit America, if you are fortunate, your visa, your 10-year visa has not been cut to 3 months. So don't be ready to surrender your phone at the entry point. Well, for those of you who love to go to the US. So AI is no longer asking for permission. AI has since resumed work. But here is the caution. While AI is a magnificent tool, it is also a poor replacement for human judgment. If we become dependent on automation without understanding the why behind the answers, we risk becoming excellent listeners and terrible leaders. So how do we thrive and not just survive in this new economy? I will share 3 pillars that, in my view, will define success for us in Nigeria's AI-driven era. Pillar number 1, lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. In Nigeria, learning has never waited for perfect conditions. We learn to read with generators humming in the background. We learned new skills on borrowed laptops, shared data, and watched YouTube at 1 a.m. We learned on the job, not because it was convenient, but because survival demanded it. In this economy, a degree is good, but skill is better. The most employable people today are not those who know everything. They are those who can learn, unlearn, and relearn quickly. Digital literacy is no longer optional, it is essential. Adaptability is no longer a soft skill, it is a survival skill. You can no longer afford to say, this is not how we do it, or I don't want to. Using yesterday's skill to solve today's problem is like insisting on a typewriter. I don't know how many of you know that. In a world that has moved to laptops. The world has changed and talent must change with it. Creativity, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking are now premium skills. In the AI era, employers are no longer asking, what did you study? They are asking, what problem can you solve? And in Nigeria, we say it plainly and sometimes playfully or painfully. If you do not upgrade, you will be upgraded out. Lifelong learning is no longer an HR slogan. It is how talent stays relevant. It is how careers remain employable. And it is how nations remain competitive. Pillar number 2, AI as a mirror for organizations. I've just finished speaking about individual. Now I want to move to the organization. The second pillar shifts the conversation from individual to organization, especially here in Nigeria. AI is not just a tool, it is a mirror. And mirrors can be uncomfortable. A mirror shows you exactly how you look. If you are well put together, it reflects that. If there are blemishes, it does not hide them. How you present yourself is how you see it clearly. That is what AI does to organizations. It shines a bright light on inefficiencies We have learned to manage instead of fixing. It questions processes that exist only because someone said, this is how we used to do it, this is how we have always done it. It challenges leaders who are comfortable with tradition but uncomfortable with transformation. When AI enters an organization, it does not create problems, it reveals them. It reveals manual processes that should have been automated years ago. It reveals approval chains that require 5 signatures when one will do. It reveals teams that are working very hard but not always working smart. The organizations that will thrive will not use AI to replace people. They will use AI to release people. And that is to free them from repetitive assignments, from endless data entry, from low-value work that drains energy but delivers little impact, so that humans can focus on what machines cannot replace. And that is critical thinking, judgment, creativity, strategy, and innovation. Technology should make work smarter, not humans smaller. And here is the truth. If individuals are changing, upgrading, and becoming adaptable, organizations must do the same. Because new wine cannot survive in old wine skins. It will burst, it will spill, and it will be wasted. If people, the new wine, are upgrading their skills, embracing AI, and evolving daily, then organizations, the container, must also evolve. When modern talent is housed in adaptable, forward-thinking organizations, work becomes faster, decisions become smarter, and value creation accelerate. The organizations that understand this will not just survive the AI era, they will lead it. Pillar number 3, values anchored on human-centered leadership. And this brings me to leadership. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, the future of work will still rise or fall on leadership. It was John Maxwell who said, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. In an AI-driven world, leadership is knowing when to move fast and when to pause. Because not everything that can be done quickly should be done blindly. The AI economy does not need loud leaders. It does not need more noise or more pressure. It needs wiser leaders. Leaders who understand that AI can optimize processes, but it cannot optimize judgment. Leaders who understand that AI can increase speed, but it cannot decide what is right. That responsibility still belongs to leaders. And that is why values matter more now than ever. There is an African proverb that says, the river may rise, but it does not forget its source. Our tools may become smarter, our systems may become faster, our workplaces may become more digital, but we must not forget our source. And that is human purpose, human dignity, human creativity, and human collaboration. AI can assist us. AI can enhance us. AI can help us work better and faster. But the responsibility for decisions, the consequences of those decisions, and the culture we create at work, that must remain powerfully human. Leadership in the AI era is not about choosing technology over people. It is about ensuring technology serves people. The leader who will thrive in the era are not those who chase every new tool. They are those who anchor every innovation in purpose. Distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, let me now attempt to safely land this plane. The future of work is not automated, it is augmented. AI will not replace Nigeria's workforce unless we refuse to evolve. If there is one thing Nigerians know how to do, and you all bear me witness, is this: when the system changes, we adjust. When the roadblocks appear, we find another route. When the rules change, we learn the game and play it better. So let us choose curiosity over fear, learning over comfort, collaboration over competition. Because in this economy, no one owes us relevance. We must earn it. If we do this, Nigeria will not just participate in the AI-driven work economy, but we will help define it. So, let's commit not just to adopting AI, but thriving because of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you, and may your skill always be upgraded and never outdated. God bless you all, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Malam Ahmed Ladan Gobri, FCIPM, FNLI, President and Chairman of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. God bless you.
That this step is AI driven. Thank you so much to our honorable keynote speaker. Thank you very much for that well put keynote address. Please, once again, I'd like us to please put our hands together for our keynote speaker for putting it together so nicely. I think I took a number of points. I'm sure we all did. But just to cap it off nicely, one of the things that I'm taking up is the fact that AI can optimize processes, but cannot optimize judgment. And I think this is truly important, especially when we're talking about talent management right now. AI is fun, AI is great, but to be honest, and this is a personal opinion, sometimes I find it boring. For instance, which is the reason why I had to give that example of, those two statements. There's some statements you see it. Sometimes you're reading on LinkedIn, I think we're all professionals here, and then you're seeing almost everybody is writing the same way. And I know that no two individuals can be the same. No two individuals can have the same style. And that's what we see oftentimes because people don't do the extra work. For instance, you just come with a statement like that. It was so obvious, organization can leverage, you just know. So I think, or I believe, that at the end of the day, AI cannot take the job of humans because we all need that human touch at the end of the day. Because even if you're making use of AI, you need to still do your own work. And I think that's also that's another platform on its own again, where you now take it on that platform to say that please help us find out if this is written by AI. So I think at the end of the day, still humans doing the thing. So AI cannot take the job of humans. But I think the most important thing is for us to know how to make use of AI to work for us, to do the work for us, and to amplify our work, not to diminish our work. And that takes us to our next presentation today. Our next presentation today is from the head of People, Culture and Workforce Transformation Unit at Philips Consulting Limited, Mr. Ademola Adedipe, PhD, FCIPM, FCIPDM FIMC. Please join me in making welcome Ademola Adedipe. Please do it with a robust round of applause. Thank you very much. I mean, AI cannot do PhD, FIPM. I can't do any of that. Welcome. Thank you so much.
All right. But AI can call him PhD Mister. All right. Okay, great. Thank you so very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the journey so far is good, and it's going to get better as we move along. Thank you so very much, sir, for delivering that very powerful keynote. All right, good. I kick off at this point now. You wonder, we're not reinventing the theme for the conference, but when I got the brief that I was standing to make presentation from the PCL Philips Consulting platform, what came to mind was this handshake. I'm like, okay, the handshake, there's a machine part, there's a human part. And but the reality is that for many of us, the human part is already fading off. The only hand that is present in the space is the machine hand. And just like my IPP has said, I just captured that the soul of content is actually maintained by the human component, not the machine component. So if we really want to try, we want to fly, we want to move, well, then we need to know how to strengthen the man-machine handshake. I think I would do the visual using this side. All right, so let's take a dive. But I'm sure when you hear dive, deep dive, that's also telling you something. That's machine language. But some of us have actually, we're so used to some of these things. Machine has come to learn from us. So when you hear, let's take a deep dive. So we're going. All right. Is it coming up? Okay. I'm going to be dropping a few things this morning within the short frame of time that we have, so that we don't make this a scholastic thing or a cerebral thing alone. We're going to be looking at a few questions and some numbers that when you see those numbers, it will move you, propel you to taking certain levels of stepping back and to reason again. Now, the major question I want to throw first is Nigeria work economy truly AI driven? We're saying we're thriving within the AI driven work economy. But the main question is it really AI driven? We need to ponder and ask ourselves this question. Then beyond that point also, where exactly are we in Nigeria when it comes to artificial intelligence? I was in conversation with a friend by yesterday evening, and the way he mentioned AI, it just looked like one human being standing beside me. AI is beginning to sound like one man or one woman standing beside me. I said, no, AI is just artificial intelligence. It's supposed to be a tool that will empower, improve the process, the speed, optimize a lot of things, but it will not take over judgment. Once it begins to take over judgment, then we are already losing the battle. We're losing that drive. So we need to look in this direction. Is it really truly AI driven, this Nigerian work economy? Then beyond that, where are we in terms of the AI integration for Nigerian space? And I would just want to put it in this way that, are we truly thriving, or we're just talking? I see a lot of talk, but policy-wise, execution-wise, implementation-wise, corporate presence at the national level, sub-national level, we're just doing a lot of talking. Sincerely, we're doing a lot of talking. But it is my very deep heart, feeling that going beyond this conference today, we're going to move from talking to putting things solidly on ground. All right. So we look at these numbers. 8.7%. What is this telling us about? See, Nigeria's AI adoption is very low. Awareness is there. Everybody knows about AI. When you talk AI, but what's the rate of adoption? It's even lower than the sub-Saharan African numbers. These numbers took me like, wow, we need to get something doing, if we are really serious and we make business. But 93% also of firms have initiated some form of AI adoption or one or the other. However, Initiating something is not the same as integrating it. We initiate, we throw it up, but are we bringing it on board? We are not doing that. 93%, and we know the Nigerian syndrome. Once anything comes, Nigeria will go straight, dive into it, everybody, but we will get tired very easily. 93%, they are really pumped up, but they are not pumped up to last. And that's the reality. 60% of Nigerian organizations do not even use AI in talent management. We just use AI to prompt, ask basic questions like you're Googling, okay, what is this, what is that? Those elementary things that you should use the normal cerebral capacity to deliver. It's what we're using AI to do. So we're barely scratching the surface of the reality of what AI, the capacity of what AI can actually deliver. So before we talk of thriving, we really need to sit back, get up, and get going. Only 9% have fully integrated AI across the HR space. And we're pulling this from actually the PCL Talent Management Report 3.0 that we had last year, and the discoveries were just so alarming. And out of all the 27% you are seeing here now, they are employees that possess, the 27% of employees possess adequate digital skills, but less than 12% of them are proficient in AIs. You know, when you mention AI, whether it's Perplexity, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Grok, whether it's all the spectrum, people, they are seriously aware. But how are you deploying? The level of deployment is really very disturbing. So the disruption is not just coming over, just like my Oga, let me use the Nigerian Palace, IPP of the CIPM has said, it's not just coming, it's here already. Everything is being impacted by artificial intelligence. The technician I called recently to attend to my vehicle just, okay, he's going to be using something to analyze, it's going to be something to check, it's going to be diagnostic. You keep on hearing things. Those things were not there before, but right now automation is really coming on board very strong. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's not just that space you go to prompt, but it's a lot of things that we put in together. So analytics, and when we talk of the Nigerian, work space, the work economy, we need to be very precise. In the fintech and the financial services space, 87.5%. I love numbers. It's often said that numbers don't lie. When you see those numbers, you'll be like, are you sure? Is it real? These things are detailed. They are research that are backed up with diligence. It's not just, cooking up numbers. 87.5%. And why? Because they are seriously moving in the direction of fraud detection, credit scoring, customer service automation, and a lot of things. And when you go into the banking, I purposely laid these 5 sectors. The next page will show us other areas. For the banking, we have this percentage is from the moderate to high. Okay, just a pause. You're welcome, sir. Okay. All right, so we kick off. E-commerce is also moderate. Agriculture is emerging. Healthcare is also emerging. A lot of things are coming up, and these things are coming from the reports from the PCL Talent Management Report, another well-documented report. I'm purposely throwing this so that it will cause us to reflect. And we are actually there. Within all this sector, when we're talking of the work economy, it's a very big word. But when we break it down, fintech and financial sector, they are really very high. But banking is moderately high. E-commerce is coming up. Agri is just barely emerging, and healthcare. But this is where the main issue now lie. HR and talent management, low. 9%. And we're wondering, we're paying so much attention to areas that are at risk, where our money is at risk. But the people component, we are not paying attention to it when it comes to integration of AI. There's so much attention that is being, put to the areas of finance and banking. But when it comes to the areas of human capacity building, we're not actually intentional in this area. And when you look at the education sector also, well, emerging from a report from Digital Regenesis, public sector and governance, which will actually be the bedrock of development. I'm going to be sharing a slide on a practical case study of a project that we are on with Philips Consulting, and this will also tell you that the government is intentional, but industry also should be intentional. All right. So, what are we talking about? The irony there is that we are protecting transaction better than we are preparing people. People preparation should actually be the number one thing. Because people drive process, people drive policies, people drive everything. So if the people component of AI sensitization is very low, every other thing will suffer. And we're here now because we're talking about talent management, which is the people management to drive the people component so that they'll be adequately equipped to be able to move the handshake. And I go back to the handshake. It is the man and machine handshake, not just a machine. And the man handshake for me is a significant handshake. The machine is the support. It improves the process. It optimizes. But the main handshake is stretched by the man, but it's augmented. That's why I love that. It's not just something we're not talking of automation now, but augmentation. Strengthening the human capacity with artificial intelligence support. Now, if you look closely here to the practical and live case study, we're currently running a project for the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, and it's called the Personnel Audit and Skill Gap Analysis PASGA 2025. And from this project that we're running, very large-scale project, we're talking about attending to about 80,000 civil servants across the Federation, all MDAs, both locally in Nigeria and in diaspora. So it's a very large-scale thing. Imagine if there were artificial intelligence was absent. Articulating things, collating things together, running things across ministries, departments, across sectors, across lands, moving New York, Delhi, Bombay, Cairo, South Africa. We have to do the legwork, no desk research, nothing that can boost the capacity. Imagine what will be the outcome. We'll be there for like maybe 3 regimes, and we're not done. Sincerely, we'll be there. 3 regimes of 4-year term each, and we're still not done. But what we're able to achieve with the AI empowerment, we're able to put together the workforce analysis, the band selection, cadre analysis, breaking down skill gap, breaking competencies framework, what you need to step up to the cadre. Everything was purely analyzed and driven by AI empowerment. Imagine if this were not to be there. 3 regimes, okay, let me add an extra regime, 4 regimes. We're still on with this. But with the empowerment of AI, we were able to deploy a much skilled platform, and we're able to scale it and also efficiently speed up the process. We are currently in the process of report writing. Even the report writing is also AI empowered. But human still maintain that rule of judgment. And that's one thing that we should never keep our eyes on. The judgment is held. And now, when we look at all these numbers, it propelled me to realize that there are 3 things that we should be doing. We should be starting things, we should be stopping things, and we should be continuing some things. What should we be starting? Create AI literacy for everyone. It's not an IT project. Because when you mention AI, the first thing that comes to mind is IT, information tech. No, it goes beyond. It's a corporate strategy. It's something that comes from top to the bottom, and we bring this on board. Let everybody come on top of that space and be empowered. Literacy in the AI space is for everybody and not just for the IT. We should start structured upskilling and reskilling, and not just one-off trainings. A lot of talent management issues are we just do one-off training, and once that training is done, everything packs up. No, it should be intentionally structured. It should be something progressive. It should be something that should attend to the realities of the now. I was in Abuja recently, and I saw this ringing telephone. Who uses that anymore? In that hotel lobby, she said the telephone is still working. I said, how did you guys get to work? Nobody is still, dialing this way. It evolved from in fact, it was the initial one that the older generation will understand that better. Things are, Mr. Phillips does not understand. Things keep evolving, and that's the reality. In fact, there are predictive things. Now, once you type A, the A will tell you, do you want to say Ademola? Do you want to say architecture? Do you want to say, it gives you suggestive things. These are AI empowerment. And if we bring them on board, we upgrade the level of the skill of our workforce. Sincerely, we are building strength for the organization, by extension for the industries, by extension for the nation. Nigeria is blessed with strong population. Imagine if everybody is empowered in the area of artificial intelligence.
it's really going along. So we're redesigning roles for AI augmentation, not just doing job description. Now we all know that with just a few prompts, you can generate a JD that will be perfect. But beyond generating a JD, when you get to that space, you'll not be able to deliver because they are AI generated. And it's very clear to discover. There are things that are discovering, AI is discovering AI now. In fact, that's basically what some people are doing, especially for project analysis. All right, so we have ethical AI governance and a lot of other things that we need to start, things that we need to bring on board. We need to change our mindset. We need to progress. We need to move forward. And to say, okay, what do we need to start? Policies at the government level, things that will be structured, how this thing will be utilized, how it's going to be ethically engaged, so that we'll not just be doing copy and pasting and we keep revolving and moving around and around. And if everybody gets to copy and paste error, at the end of the day, we discover that there's no value in circulation. Now, the stopping error. There are things we need to stop. Stop treating AI as an IT project. IT department, oh yeah, let's have it on your budget. No, it's a corporate position thing. It's a business issue. It's something that is strategic. Don't wait for the perfect tool. Don't wait for the perfect tool. Excuse me. Inaction is more dangerous and more destructive compared to imperfection. You can build up organically. Look at what can, just like some organizations, I was talking with my brother here, we've had a bit of engagement with some of the staff from UBI and things like that. So let's keep developing from within. Stop having in mind that you are looking for something that will be cast from Pluto or from Mars and be dropped on planet Earth. Stop having this mindset. AI strategy also should not be deployed without leadership ownership. Leaders must take it and say, yes, we believe in this and we're going to support it. Say a big thank you to my chairman, Mr. Felicia Phillips is here. Full support, full throttle support. And I believe if that happens in every space, sincerely, we'll move from just talking to thriving. All right. No matter the degree of funding, leadership buying is very, very critical. Then things we need to continue. Continue the support, embedding AI into platforms. I was at a forum just recently, I think it was InterSwitch or something, that they were having AI platforms that were now doing local languages, Yoruba language, Hausa language, Igbo language, that were designed by our teams here in Nigeria. And they are being used seriously within the Ministry of Education and the education space. And it was really a very exciting thing for me. So these things should continue. Continue building local AI research startups, continue building innovation clusters, continue to bring, public-private partnerships, things that the government with organizations, industries can come bring on board. Let this continue. Don't stop. And continue to push that every other sector will also move at the same momentum that the fintech and financial sector is moving. Imagine if education, talent, and HR space is at 80%. Imagine that. Not 9% that we're looking at. So as I begin to wind up, I'll look at it in this way. Let's just settle it. Let me ask the question again. Is Nigeria's work economy truly AI driven? No, let's from all these numbers that we've shared, 9% talent management integration, AI integration. Are we truly AI driven? Not yet. Not yet. I don't like no. I don't like no. No means that you finalize. Not yet. Meaning that there's still work in progress. There's something that needs to be done. In fact, there's something that is being done that should be accelerated. It can be if we choose design over delay. We're dragging feet. People are talking too much, analyzing things. Let's get on the feet and begin to act. And this is my own resolve. AI will not replace leaders. But leaders who fail to integrate AI will be replaced. How do we place this? People are afraid that AI will take our jobs. AI, the only jobs that will be taken, the jobs that people that refuse to embrace AI. Factor it, integrate it, fine-tune it. Don't just put it. I was coming this morning, my daughter is here with me. I was coming this morning and I was saying some things to her. I said, okay, Cherry, help me type this. And she was typing. I was creating content. I said, put it on Perplexity for me. Let it analyze, let it come. And he will say, Daddy, okay, you still hold this. I say, yes, that's how it should be. All on that space. Don't just drop AI and tell AI that okay, generate for me. Generate what? You should be driving. If you are not okay with it, redrive. If you are not okay with it, reimagine it until it reflects what you are pushing for. Let that thing have a DNA signage of you and not ChatGPT or Perplexity, as the case may be. Let it be you. So that when somebody sees that I've read quite a number of Wole Soyinka's books, and when I see the style of writing, this is Wole Soyinka's style. AI cannot replicate that style unless you do a strong prompt engineering that say replicate this writing in Professor Wole Soyinka's style. It means you are still controlling the AI. Organizations that will try those. Okay, thank you. The battery is aligning with AI. Wait on that battery. Yeah. All right. Organization that will thrive with those that prepare their people. There's no bargaining to that. There's nothing that will, if you prepare your people, you are setting yourself up to thrive. Don't just fund technology. Don't just fund platforms. Fund people capacity development. Let them have intentional and, like I put it here now, it says here that evolve intelligently and intentionally. There must be intelligent and intentional evolution. You must know this is where I need to get to. That discipline. The desire is there. I'm excited about that. But beyond the desire, the discipline has to be there. Beyond the discipline, the diligence has to be there. That we are getting here and we are going to own this and we are going to control it. It will not control us. The handshake, which is here now, the human component is the stronger, is the senior partner in this equation. If we understand that, then we are moving somewhere. And like I say, this handshake between man and machine must be intentionally designed and not assume. Don't assume. Don't assume at all. And as I close finally, I will leave you with this. If we leave here today, and nothing changes in your workforce architecture, then we just have gist. That's what we just gisted. Something needs to go back as intentionally that 9% of talent management integration of AI must move up. We must get out of that red zone when it comes to the talent management space. Your competitors are not waiting. AI is not waiting because it keeps updating everything. Every time you say update, 50 megabytes, I will update again. It keeps updating, it keeps evolving. But are you waiting? Start what needs to be started. Stop what needs to be stopped and continue what's working for you. And finally, the future of work in Nigeria will not be led by those who experiment. Experimentation is good, it's great, but it will not be led by those who experiment, but it will be led by those who design intentional. Be the architect of AI. And as we do it, we are in this to thrive. Thank you for the time. And I hope you've taken a few things. So many wonderful speakers are still lined up. This is just the QR code for the talent management report. So you just pick it up and you'll have a deep dive. Let me use that word. Have a deep dive into it. All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ademola Adedipe. I want to apologize earlier. I said Mr. and that just makes me human. Thank you so much for a notch higher. Wow. Professor Ademola Adedipe. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Professor Ademola Adedipe for that very brilliant charge. I think I took one thing today and I'm taking that home. And I think every one of us should take that home. Is the fact that we must be the drivers. AI cannot drive us. We must be the drivers of AI. And I think that's really important. So as we move forward in the conversations today, I'm sure we will all agree that the conversations that we've been having so far, from the keynote speaker to the presentation by Professor Adedipe, it's been truly insightful, and they've broken it down in detail to us. I think that presentation that we just had right now or talked about less than 9% of people, Nigerians have adopted AI. I think that that was very telling, and we are. I think I'm seeing out how many of us in this room, maybe about it's about 200. So that says something. When we go back to our organizations, there's a deep call to action today. Our first panel today will be on Nigeria's AI ready workforce. I think this is a very interesting conversation, from degrees to capabilities. And on this panel, we have another set of brilliant individuals. Please, I'll call them in no particular order. As I make them call them onto the stage this morning, please put your hands together for them. Just keep clapping till they come on stage. Our first panelist today is the Human Resource Director at Pernod Ricard Nigeria, Dr. Joshua Ademu Wagu. Please join me to welcome him on stage. Our next panelist today is co-founder AI in Nigeria. Please put your hands together for Dotun Adeoye as he comes up. Our next panelist is engineering manager at Luby AI, Emmanuel Onora. Please, your hands together as it comes up, please. Thank you. Still on this panel, we have the People Transformation Consultant and Skill Intelligence Lead at Philips Consulting, Olateju Olubenga. A round of applause, please. And last but certainly not least on this panel, we have Deji Lano, co-founder, CTO, Seamless HR. A round of applause for Deji Lano as he comes up stage, please. And moderating this panel this morning is broadcast journalist at BusinessDay, Kemi Michael. Please put your hands together for Kemi as she comes up. Thank you very much. Please keep clapping till she comes up stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. And I'll start by apologizing. I have a little cold this morning, but we're going to go into it. I mean, AI cannot have cold, so yeah. So we're going to go right into it. Thank you so much for coming out. And if you're in the room, do well to inform another person. You know, post on your status, post it on your Instagram, on all the platforms that you are on, so people can actually learn, pick a thing or two or more, because I've been writing like a maniac since morning, and I'll tell you this is a very informative session, and I assure you that we really do need people to know and also act. So it's not about knowing, it's not about the knowledge, but also doing the work. Please, let's put our hands together for my lovely panelists here. I'm exercising my right to stand today. All right, so I'm going to first off begin with the topic of this particular panel, and that is from degree to capabilities. And we now know that Nigeria is not exactly AI ready. Our workforce is not exactly AI ready, but not yet, soon. And that's why we're having this conversation. So I'll be starting with Dr. Joshua Ademuwago. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now first off, a lot of what's he called? People, right? They want to get into AI. They want to do things with AI. They want to be able to compete in the global stage. Let me put it that way. Especially Nigerians, we want to do that, but we don't exactly know how to start. And this is because what we know has already been, our buttocks have been exposed. It's mostly asking AI, like we're talking with, Google. So I'd like you to state 3 things that we need to put together as talents, not just the workforce, talents ourselves. What exactly are the things we need to know and also practice? Because it's one thing to know, it's another thing to practice. So what are those things? Just 3 things. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. I'd like to start by saying, I have my Oga Pata Pata at the top here, FOP. I'm ex-PCL, so PCL is always a family. Yes. I want to say thank you to my other panelists and the host of this event. Um, the interesting thing is that when I walked into the room and I sat down, the first thing that caught my attention was the design, right? The handshake. And I noticed that the man was, there was a right hand shaking the left hand of the machine. I wasn't surprised when our able professor started to talk about, the handshake between man and machines and how that impacts what the things that are happening where AI and humans are concerned. If you say three things, right, that would lead to begin to do in Nigeria, I think the very first thing, which for me is very fundamental and always fundamental, is the fact that um, it's very important for Nigerian individuals and organizations to begin to think global. And I say that because I believe that when you correct mindsets, then it's very easy to correct actions. Why do I say this? Now, it's been said that by 2050, Nigeria would be the third largest economy in the world. It's been said that by 2050, Nigeria's GDP will be about $15 trillion, right? And if you look at 2050 from 2026, I mean, it looks like a lot of years, but really it's a few years. Now, listen to the presentation that we heard this morning. We are very, very far. So I think the very first thing is to become visionary and understand that we are playing on the global stage and we cannot afford to be thinking local alone. We should think global and act local. So I think that's the very first thing. The second thing is then for us to begin to understand that the future of work really is about competencies and skills. Now, I have something that Google, it's a report I always like to read, and I just want to read it to us. It's the World Economic Forum report. It's the Future of Jobs report for 2026. Now, the World Economic Forum has said the top three skills that will be required in the world in 2026. Number one, analytical thinking and innovation. That's human beings, right? Number two, creative thinking. Well, that's human beings again. And number three, AI and technological literacy. Now, if the first two are absent, then the way we use AI and technological advancements becomes flawed, right? So we need the first two so that we can leverage number three, isn't it? So it's understanding that we're departing from degrees, and when I say we're departing from degrees to a very skill-based workforce, believe me, I understand what I'm talking about. I have 4 master's degrees, 1 doctorate degree. I'm doing another doctorate degree. Of course, I have a PhD, amongst other things. But I've discovered that, see, all of those things, they are good papers to have. But the truth is that when you appear in an organization, the question they ask you is, what problems can you solve for us? It's not all the papers you have. So, I mean, you could go do your master's from the UK. When you come back to Nigeria, I won't hire you because you can't solve my problem, regardless of where you got your papers from. So, we must understand, number two, that we are departing and becoming a very skills-based workforce. So, what should we do? Number three, very simple. We must understand that technology is a tool that we would require, and AI especially, is a tool that would require to be able to do the first two things very effectively. Those three things are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very well said. That's very well said. Now, I'll be moving this question in light of what you mentioned to Mr. Emmanuel. Now, speaking about, being visionaries, of course, having skills and understanding that technology is required. From your own point of view, how exactly is building AI solutions, and what are the most critical capability gaps that you've seen? You know, because in Nigeria, again, as we have said, and as we know today, we use it as if we're using Google. That's how we use AI. We hardly use it for what it is needed to be used. But what are those gaps that you have seen as a professional?
Okay. First off, thank you everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. To answer the questions, I think the first gap would be AI builders or orchestrators in this sense. Right now, I think most people can easily just go to like ChatGPT. You type, tell me this or tell me that, whatnot. But like when you talk about like when you're working with business, are you thinking about AI so in a sense of a way you can use it to actually solve a problem? Because that's literally what we are trying to use AI for, right? Solve a problem, right? So you have to think of yourself as a builder. So the gap there is a lot of people don't really think of themselves as builders. A lot of talent, they just think of themselves as, oh, let me just use AI to do do this, do that, right? But like, are you thinking of yourself as a builder in terms of how are you creating a workflow to solve a business need, right? So there's a gap there of like people that have that mindset or think that way. Something else I would also say is there's a gap in I'll say high fidelity soft skills. Right now, just with the way AI is going, your regular problem like maybe I'm more of an engineer, so I'll use engineering, right? Of your coding, your maths, drafting emails, whatnot, right? Those ones will be solved, right? But like you need human beings, soft skills are needed more than ever right now, right? Communication. Are you able to easily or clearly like state, oh, this is what I need, this is what it's supposed to be, right? Your judgment comes into play here now, right? More than ever, right? Because you need to like check whatever you're giving out to AI. You're sure that it's not hallucinating. You're sure that it's actually giving the right thing, right? So those soft skills really, really come into play here. Then I think the final thing I would say is probably a gap there is also I think we already mentioned this a bunch of times. So the literacy itself, right? A lot of people just don't have that literacy in AI, right? We need to like make more efforts to make this a thing, right? Not just in the tech space, right? Like my brother rightfully said, but like something that everyone has to see as, oh, we need to like pick this up, right? We need to pick up this to whatever industry you are, So yeah.
All right, thank you very, very much for that. My next question will be directed at Mr. Dotun Adeoye. And truthfully, we've been talking about the talent, right? How about the corporate organizations? In the grassroots areas, people are still struggling to use systems, laptop, desktop, and all of that. They've not gotten into the AI rave right now. What would you say are the things that can be done to improve both grassroots and, of course, we that are can no longer be said to be grassroots? What are those things that we can do and put in place to have, say, talent hubs or hubs that train people and, of course, organizations in order to make sure that they know how to use AI and they deploy AI properly?
Thank you very much. That's an interesting question, and we do have an experience in that. So I'll use that and I'll answer this from two perspectives. So most corporate organizations have CSR, and if you think about hubs, it's a place where you gather individuals who are trying to do, or individuals gather either to work or to do whatever corporately or personally. And I'll pause that step to the second part. At AI Nigeria, we have 40 hubs across 25 states, the AI Nigeria communities of practice and learning. And one of the things we have done intentionally is basically to integrate 6 types of demographics in terms of using these hubs, researchers, policymakers, startups, enthusiasts, students. And what we've learned over about 2.5 years now is that when you have demographics come together in hubs, the learning is accelerated. Because the interesting thing I've been hearing in this room for someone who's been in AI since 2014 is that AI is kind of being almost used as vanilla. Not just this room, but everywhere. But AI is not just AI. It goes beyond just ChatGPT, which most people think it is. It goes beyond Grok or DeepSeek or Claude or whatever, Gemini or Meta AI. AI is actually the advent of AI is the fourth industrial revolution. So we need to start perceiving AI like we perceive electricity, like the steam engine. So it's big. Like Prof said, this is beyond just talking about it. It's something we need to sort of look from the human lens. And when you are looking at how corporate organizations and individuals can adopt this and grow this, first, we need to begin to gather together like this. This is wonderful. This is fantastic. But then we need to then democratize it because Gen AI has democratized AI. AI has been around since the 1950s. In fact, the first instance of AI was in 1930 something. It's been in the military, it's been in education, it's been in manufacturing, automation, and all that. But the reality is to be able to have it permeate our, country and adapt it for Nigeria. We need companies to begin to actually think about putting some of their CSR towards this, so that hubs, you don't need to reinvent the wheels. There are so many hubs around. How do you partner with hubs to put 10% of your CSR to train X number of individuals across X, geographical locations in Nigeria? And then how can you partner with organizations who are already doing it? Because we found by partnering with organizations, so I'll give you an example in Akwa Ibom State. We're partnering with, the blockchain ecosystem there to expand what we are doing, because we know that we're doing it, but the person leading the community is a part-timer, and for us to be able to have a deep impact, we partnered with another organization that has a deep, spread. We have similar experience in Borno State, where when we started, it was aspirational because, if you're Nigerian, you think Borno State, you have some pictures in your head, especially if you're a Southerner. And we did a bit of deep research aided by AI. And what happened was that we were able to find a couple of partners who are actually with their hubs, and we were able to begin to do some work. And that has been sustained because through partnership, we were able to do that. So corporate organizations don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are organizations across Nigeria who are already operating hubs. You can partner with them. Think from the impact. What's the end game? And if you already have CSR or you don't, you can begin to partner with this organization or start. We also have scenarios where we've used NYC in some of the other locations where, okay, culturally there's no fit with some of the hubs or organization, and we were able to find some very talented young people who were able to work with us. And it's all about being creative and innovative. For individuals at the grassroots and across Nigeria, I would say that AI is your friend, and you still control AI because prompt engineering is about prompting. Prompting is a doing thing. You actually tell it what to do. So you can use AI to actually create a curriculum for yourself and say, okay, I work in HR, I work in talent management. I need to understand how to use AI. Using the internet, Coursera, and all that. You have to give steps in the prompting and say, create a curriculum for me over 2 weeks to learn XYZ. This is my end goal. ChatGPT or whatever will do that for you. But make sure you check it because otherwise hallucinations will happen. So I'll close with this. A few weeks ago, so I'm from AI Nigeria, and we do this annual Innovate AI conference. So we have about 600 volunteers, and I was just kind of trying to get them to engage. And I said, okay, can you tell me the past speakers of the past Innovate AI conference? Most of them went on ChatGPT, and they were giving names that even made the co-convener. I said, guys, this one shocked me because when you tell AI to do something, it's just AI works, especially the LLMs, they work like the human brains. When you go to an interview, someone asks you a question and you don't know it, you still say something, right? And the way the LLMs work, when it answers questions, it will make it up. I remember when ChatGPT first started, I asked it about the president of Nigeria, and it was totally different. And I said, "Well, are you talking about the Federal Republic of Nigeria?" Use the use the internet. And say, "Oh, I don't have access to the internet," and I said, "Okay," because it wasn't connected to the internet. And I prompted and prompted. Then it got there. But most of us, like you are saying, we use the LLMs, especially as Google. So coming back to how individuals can use, can kind of adopt AI and develop ourselves in AI, we have to sort of be intentional. What's your end goal? So for me, I run a business. So for me, it will be about leadership. It will be about understanding how I can be better as a leader. It will be about what can I learn. I can create, which I do, where to find sources and read. And the thing is, if you give the right prompting, which is all about learning as well, it will give you the right thing. But most importantly, like Prof said, you need to look through it and be sure. So individually, you can create a curriculum, a learning path. Companies can think about partnerships with hubs and organizations already doing this. Or even if you don't do it, you can learn from those who are already doing this. And the good thing is that with the likes of ChatGPT, you can actually accelerate how you start this because it can create a plan for you and you can jump. Because in the days of Google, it might take you 1 billion pages to be able to research, but AI LLMs help us to accelerate this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. For most of us that were confused about what LLM is, to be sure, it's language learning models, right?
Large language models.
Large language models. All right, thank you very much. Now, my next question will be directed to Miss Olateju. Am I pronouncing that right? Thank you very much. All right, now speaking about trainings in organizations, yes, we train people, individuals, talents, and employees on how to use AI and deploy AI. But what do you think is the issue with us not maximizing it yet? Even after the training, we still see people using it as Google, but it's there to help you and not take your job. What are companies to do in this situation after they are done training and their people are still not using it properly? What are they to do?
Thank you for that question. And you don't sound like someone that has a cold, just to say that. All right. So I think that organizations need to change their approach to designing training. And just taking it back memory lane when I used to work as an in-house HR, and when you just want to come up with a training program, you just send like a training schedule and you just tell your managers, okay, pick this training, and the training is not aligned to anything. And so training is just an event, right? But work is every day. And so one thing that organizations need to do is to make sure that they tie their training to business outcomes. So what do you want to achieve as an organization, right? In terms of quality, in terms of service delivery, what do you want to achieve? So you have your business outcomes. And then the next thing that you want to know is in terms of how work is designed, right? In terms of workflow. So what can AI do? What can AI assist you with? What can AI enable? And where do you need the human sense, right? So you have that. And then you then begin to map out learning interventions to all of these that you've identified. You know your business outcomes, what you want to achieve, you know what the workflow is, and then you begin to map your learning to those areas. And so even when you're coming up with learning interventions, you're not just coming up with a training program, but you're trying to build in learning into workflows, right? So you're saying that, okay, you want to go on this particular learning because it aligns with a particular workflow, or it aligns with a particular business outcome. And then at the end of the day, you're not just measuring attendance. So people went on training, and then you want to measure, okay, Did they come? What time did they come for the training? Did they go through the process? You're not measuring that, but you're trying to measure performance in terms of, okay, they've gone on this particular learning intervention. So what was the outcome? As workflow improved, as our processes improved, and that's how you can then begin to tie your learning interventions to business outcomes. So I think it's just organizations learning to redesign how they come up with their learning interventions, and that would help.
Thank you very, very much. Now, my next question will be directed to Mr. Deji. Working with Seamless HR, I have questions for you, but we'll talk later. But yes, as someone that works with a system that puts people through, make sure that this people is right for this organization, and you align all of that. What are those things that have stood out for you when it comes to the lack of knowledge, let me put it that way, of people applying when it comes to applying for jobs using AI? Because I've seen CV too. I have to do CV too. And I want to say that AI is a try in that place, because the English it's using sometimes, I'm like, even me, I'm surprised. How exactly, what are those things that you have seen that is totally and absolutely wrong, and how can people write it?
Thank you very much for that question. And thank you everyone for attending. I remember when I entered the hall and I saw the room full of people, I was impressed, because I remember 2 years ago when we had started conversations like this, the room was usually scanty. People are scared, will AI take my job? This is just another boss. But I think everyone believes AI is here right now. And sitting on this stage, looking at everyone, we are all beautiful. Remind me of a post I saw on social media where someone said that the type of people God is creating these days are really fine and beautiful. And that comes to your question, which is, I don't know what CVs you're seeing, but the CVs I've been seeing recently are really nice. They are really nice, and most are generated by AI. I was looking at the CV for a junior role. The CV was like 5 pages. Looked like the person was applying for CEO role, broke down things, there were numbers and all that. So I was like, wow, I need to speak to this person. So the person was trying to do the interview. I know the person opened ChatGPT. Sure. Because the answers were delayed and the way he was answering, he couldn't defend some of the things on the CV. So people these days now are embracing AI, but using it like as vanilla, as he said, where I have my CV, feed it into ChatGPT, put in the name of the company, put in the job description. AI generates a CV that is tailored. Most people don't even read it. They don't even question. Yeah, like I said, seamlessly upload it on the job application and fine. But that's now creating a problem for the HR people, where you now have, because before now, skill matching is majorly by keywords, majorly by how many times does this occur as a person worked in this organization, in this industry. Now AI is confused because your job, now systems will give you about 90% match from everybody that applied. Does not mean everyone is matched to it. So that's how AI is kind of reshaping, because everyone is beautiful now. You have to start going on plenty dates before before you actually find the right one. So similarly, you have to do a whole lot of interview. But what's happening now is that with AI, you can now do AI-based interview, skill-based assessment, sentiment analysis, because AI itself can tell what it generated. And I would say, if if you are using your prompt and it's not sounding like you, that means you are not using it well. Like Prof said, that means you are not training it, you are not on the driver's seat. You are just asking, generate this for me, generate it, you read it, you copy, you paste. Generate this for me, you read it. But if you are correcting it, I don't want you to sound this way, this is how I'm thinking, start shaping it to sound like you. So those are some of the ways changing. Another one is workforce visibility. Because we serve large clients, people that have 100 employees, 500, 1,000 employees, most of them don't even know how their talents are moving, internal recruitment, external recruitment, who is leaving. But with AI, which is now more than just generative AI, now there's predictive, there's analytic AI, which are now being based on LLMs, where people can deploy cheaply. AI used to be very expensive before. Like training the data, building models are super expensive. But with LLMs, you can get a cheaper LLM and train them appropriately well. So people are now able to see their workforce visibility. How many people, especially people that are in the blue collar workforce, there's a big organization that have about 20,000 staff we are working with now. And most of their staff are blue collar workers. And with blue collar workers, some people leave, some people go out, and they've always had this notion that they are very mobile. But with this analysis, they're able to see that they're actually not that mobile. Blue collar workers stay longer than white collar worker who want to work 3 months, polish their CV, moving for the next offer. So with this, they can see their employees and offer them more benefits, more loans, see how they're spending, are able to do that. And the final thing I would say, reshaping, this is beginning to pick up. It's not picked up yet, but it's beginning to pick up, which is in employee engagement. Because of hybrid work, people have tried different things, 2 days in the office, 3 days in the office, where employees now see the 2 days as leave. That's when they go to the market, they buy fuel, and do all those kind of stuff. So people have tried different things, but employee engagement has always been low. But now, apart from even using Seamless HR or some other software, HR people, IT people, leadership are now deploying AI to improve employee engagement, where you can build communities, people can ask questions. And I can do a quick poll now. People trust speaking to AI more than humans. People speak.
Therapists.
Exactly. People spill dirty secrets. People say things the way they want to AI more than human. And that's because they believe it doesn't have a soul. I'm just speaking to this person. And AI has been trained to be very flowery. Somebody was saying, this kidnapper, ChatGPT will be telling him, don't worry, it's not your fault. or Claude will be saying, don't worry, I understand, you can see what you're trying to do. You still be encouraging them. So because of that, people do that a lot. So with that, you have access to more genuine data, more than you will get it from your HR data, more than what you will get even from medical records or from law, where you can actually work on and improve employee engagement as much as possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, to my wonderful audience, if you have any questions, we'll just be taking 2. Do well to write it down and maybe pass it to the front while we walk our wonderful panelists once again. Now, this particular question will be directed to Mr. Dotun. And I'd like you to give us, because, there's been the tech, non-tech, AI, non-AI roles that people can play. As someone that has worked in the AI space for this long, what roles that are not exactly AI roles, right, can individuals look into? There are some people that say, oh, we're not tech savvy, we can't do this, my brain is not grown enough, or my brain has overgrown, things like that, all those hindrances that we like to give ourselves, right? What are those roles that can be played by, say, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, without having to, overly educate yourself in the 4 walls of the school? What roles would you say that is? Can you list 5 of those for us? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was smiling as you were asking, because it's almost like you're a seer. So I'm a graduate of English language. I don't like mathematics. And I run an AI business. So I left Nigeria after NYC, and I've only worked in tech. And interestingly, the reason I got a job on the train to Paddington, because I was sharing something I was doing about talent management in Nigeria. And the guy said, we need someone like you. It's a company called Yale. And the interesting thing was that I doubted so much that I'm not a tech person. I wasn't a science student, so I had my Niger brain. And I was thinking, how will this happen? How can it happen? So I'm using that personal reference to encourage anyone who is trying to sort of maybe get into AI, to say that you don't need to be technical to go into AI and forge a career. So coming back to the question, the first is that with the emergence of Gen AI and the adoption of AI, things are happening that certain roles are beginning to come. The first has been kind of mentioned by 2 or 3 people here, prompt engineering. So it's nothing to do with engineering. Yeah, it's a misnomer.
So it's about the art of how you communicate with LLMs or systems of AI. Companies are beginning to look for those who actually have the knowledge of prompt engineering. So the first keynote speaker mentioned in the speech about Nigerians getting jobs in their living room on their laptops and all that. And with prompt engineering, most of the roles, because it's emergent, are remote. So there are companies in the US paying $200,000, and anyway, I mentioned this amount, people come and ask the other bros, where can we apply? But just put in prompt engineering roles anywhere, and you will see, you'll be shocked. And most of the time, a lot of them are looking for a few months experience, 1 year, because it's emerging. I go from that spectrum to the leadership spectrum. Because organizations are beginning to adopt AI now, we now have a role called Chief AI Officer. Now, this is interesting because a lot of leaders and people of my generation are just a bit above were apprehensive about how AI was advancing and thinking, wow, I'm almost expiring before. Now AI is going to accelerate it. But one of the good news coming is that in the C-suite, there are roles coming, and Chief AI Officer is it. And what is Chief AI Officer? So every organization using, so there is something called shadow AI. I don't know if we've heard it. And it's the fact that whether you like it or not, majority of people in organization use AI. And most times you don't have a governance policy or you don't have an AI policy. So most times you have an IT policy, you have HR policy and all those policies. The chief AI officer is responsible, everything stops on his desk. So it's an emergent role. And like Prof said earlier, AI is not an IT thing. It's a business, it's a business thing. So the chief AI officer will cut across all the different units. So that's another one. The other one that I've seen that I know has been coming up is something called IT tester. Now, so when you hear tester and IT, just like prompt engineering, your brain pops and you think, okay, that's part of the IT team. But no, this is someone who tests for bias, who tests for fairness. This is emergent and is actually one of the more recent ones. The IT tester saves the company from risk because when you release AI products, in the future, you can have a past employee or a user of your product say, well, you discriminated against me. And then, fines will happen. I was just reading online yesterday that the NDPC is looking at Temu about how they are using data. So NDPC, which is, the police for how data is used in terms of technology, AI and all that, they are not just backing now, they are biting. So having an AI tester is beginning to be like a sensible risk management strategy because that person will be vested with the job of looking at, your content, your processes, the algorithm you are building and all that, testing for fairness, bias and all that. The principles of, fairness in AI, inclusion, explainability, all those principles. And I think, as you expect, we now go to the geeky bit where the IT engineer. So I'm seeing more roles of IT engineer required, which is basically, obviously, that's a technical person who builds an IT system. And the last one, which is a marriage of something that's been there, and a new one is AI change manager. I've been seeing a lot of that because as much as change management is a very old very old role, but I'm seeing more organizations begin to put AI before change management. So AI change management because they will be able to socialize across the organization what impact is going to be, how AI is still going to be your colleague or buddy. And interestingly, those are some of the ones that I think really are relevant. But I end with this. I wanted to refer to what my brother here said.
Sam Altman said something that some people might should be careful about what they put on, large language models because we trust the LLMs and we think that we just put it there. I'm just using it. That's not correct. What you put into ChatGPT, a very smart person writing some script can get certain things. And also, you need to also understand that you are training the system, but the owners of the system can also, drill down for certain things. So, as much as it's your own private AI system, private is not always private. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for that. Please give him a round of applause. I'm hoping that we are putting these things down. We are putting pen to paper right now. And also, again, I repeat, kindly put it on your WhatsApp status, put it on your Instagram. People really need to know what is going on. They need to understand that AI is not something you use as vanilla, as he mentioned. All right. So do well to educate people as well. Give them this information. Now, my next question will be directed to, before I make a mistake, Dejilano. Yes, it will be directed to you. Looking at the systems and what organizations are looking for right now, still speaking about AI roles, what would you say individuals should go ahead to study now? Because, there's one part of getting your degree, being a medical student, and, working yourself to the bone when truly you can use AI for certain things. Now, what two roles would you say that organizations are looking for? And I'm talking across board, not just the HR part or the other part, but across board. What two roles are organizations looking for right now?
Okay, thanks for that question. And I think it's very similar to what you said. And I think everything is said. Organizations are looking for it. I will stress two, then I will add probably one or two more to it. So you mentioned the chief AI officer, and I believe I'm speaking to HR people, technology leaders, and leadership in the room. And I think that is becoming apparent because the last thing they said about data privacy, data governance is becoming very scary. I was in a board meeting and the board member said, "Oh, I just dragged the board paper to my Claude board paper, Claude." So like the whole entire information of the board just dragged. And the person was able to give good insight because the person used it well. But you are thinking of the data governance, you're thinking of where is this data sitting, who is in control of this. So people are thinking of that. And if any role will emerge into that. So for example, there was a time there was no CISO, that's Chief Information Security Officer. But the roles that became that are CTOs, CIOs, or Information Security Manager. If anyone is going to be Chief AI Officer, I think should be coming from CHROs or CTOs, CIOs, or people in leadership. So it's not a technology thing, like I said. It's more about tools and using people and talents. And AI is getting to a point where it's no longer being used as a tool. I dare say in a year's time, AI will be more like an agent, like talents, like people. There are days now where there are organizations that have like maybe 10 employees and they are making good revenues. There are other employees that are AI agents doing most of the work for them. Whereas the humans, they are orchestrating, planning the strategy, reading and doing all that stuff. So imagine a workforce where, back to that image, where you have 50% human, 50% agent. So that means you need a AI CHRO, if you get what I'm trying to say, which is now the chief AI officer, controlling the agent, what they have access to, what they are able to control, and as development is going on, because AI is the single most developed trend, like has moved super fast in the past 2 years, more than all other industrialization that has happened before. So that would be one. Second one is prompt engineers, because now people are now getting into how to ask the right question, how to prompt more. Now, if you go on Google, you try to search, first thing that comes to you is AI response, and people don't go beyond that. So SEO is kind of dead. People are now doing LLM engine optimization rather than SEOs now. So people that can prompt are people, and like you said, anybody can learn it. I'm sure we must have seen on Instagram when you say stop doom scrolling, start an AI course in 30 days, all those all those stuff. Yeah. Even if you pick that up or anybody anywhere, Ekiti, Ilesha, anywhere, pick it up and you would see how much you can use AI better. I'm not advertising for them. Or even speak to an LLM and say, I want to be masters of this. Not just ask question and give me answer. How do I maximize and become a very good prompt engineer? Give me a 5-day course, 30 days course, 3 months course. It's to generate all that for you and show you what to read so that you're masters in it. There's also another part which is data engineering. Something most organization gets amiss is that there's AI. Just plug AI into my system and it works. But again, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what you feed in, it feeds back to you. If you tell AI, give me the president of Nigeria, it's what he knows, he will tell you. If what is sourcing for is saying that it's X person, he will give you X person. If you say, no, it's not X person, this person. Oh, you got me there. I'm sorry. It is X person. Update his database. Next person ask, he will tell the person probably the next thing. It's garbage in, get garbage out. But in Nigeria, in Africa generally, we have poor, apologies to say, we have poor data governance. People are not thinking of data. People are just thinking, how do I get the solution out? There are data in different places. People use different tools. For organization at work, with marketing are using their own tools. Sales are using their own tools. HR are using another tools, where everything is not confederated together. And it's one of the things we try to do with Seamless. Sorry, I have to mention that, where we try to manage talent from recruitment up to exit, everything in between. And that is giving some amazing result. Like I said earlier on, where there was a time a company see a lot of attrition and most of them were traveling out. But when they look through that data, because they have good data, right? They look through that data and they are seeing that, oh, it's the people we hired during a particular period from a particular agent that were leaving. So maybe the onboarding was not right. Maybe the pay we sent was not right. And they're able to do the analysis and correct for that in the future. That's data. So data engineers, data engineers are something that is also important for those that study data engineering, or even you don't have to, can pick up. The world is very fast now. Most of even my engineers either study biology, biochemistry, psychology, education, but they're able to pick up engineering and are very good at it. So anyone can pick up any skill.
Thank you very much. I hope you have your 2 questions because we'll be wrapping up soon. Once again, if you have questions, we're taking only 2. Kindly write it down and then, okay, thank you so much. We have those questions. And I'll be moving on to my next question, which will be directed at Dr. Joshua. Now, in Nigeria, we don't exactly have a lot of reforms, when it comes to certain things, and AI is one of that. Now, when we're looking at Nigeria's professional certification, what things would you say, just 2 things, what things would you say people need to do differently for us to compete globally?
Okay, I mean, that's a very good question. I think I'll start by saying that in Nigeria, we're actually doing something, right? Maybe it's not yet yielding all the dividends that we want it to yield, or we're not as aggressive as we should be. And I say that from the perspective that I know in 2022, 2023, I know the NUC, one of the things they did was to introduce what they called the core curriculum merits assessment something, CCMAS anyway. And that's really what defines the curriculum that is taught in higher institutions across the country. And in doing that, what they also did was they introduced that and included digital skills as part of what should be taught, 17 disciplines, and that was part of what should be taught in our 309 universities or higher institutions, as it were. So that has been introduced is for people to then implement in these universities, and let's see the fruits of what has been done. But I would say, it's one thing for there to be regulations, right, that are encouraging people learning about AI, people getting to know how to adopt AI and use AI more intelligently. But it's another thing for people to actually begin to do something specifically. And it's going to be a joint effort. It's going to be a joint effort between the public sector and the private sector, right? So from the private sector perspective, I think some of the things that we've said here would be my number 1. So I would say for all of us in this room, I'll say maybe number 1, what you want to do is speak to AI in Nigeria. And so, yes, they do helps and all of that, but how can they help your organization? You know? And then number two, actually sitting down and asking ourselves very honestly, how can we integrate AI into our entire process? Now, I work for Penarica, Nigeria. I mean, we're a global company, second largest wines and spirits business in the world. And right from France, right where our headquarters is, one of the things we've done is we have a chief AI officer, right? And the job of that person is to ensure that with all our processes, HR, supply chain, finance, and all of that, we're integrating AI. Now, some organizations might not be that big because there's a massive investment. For example, we have our own AI tool within our business, that we use. And it makes my own job very easy. I mean, when I'm doing anything, I'm in HR, of course, so anything in the talent management space, there's always something to leverage AI. I mean, you can leverage AI and it gets it done very easily for you, customize it and you can use it. But some organizations might not be able to, at this time, make that kind of investment. But what can they begin to do, at their level? Just even going online, having those conversations, speaking to AI in Nigeria, speaking to PCL, having those initial conversations. I'm just saying, what are the little things we can do to integrate AI? And you'll be amazed. The answers are all around us, really. From the simple things, and as we grow, we can then include more investments and all of that. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. Please let's give him a round of applause. And this particular question will be giving to Olasiji. Yes. Okay, so first, I know you have mentioned that organizations need to deploy. They need to actually put in the work and not just train employees when it comes to AI. But what two things do you think stands out to you when these organizations do it, and it actually brings the changes that they need to see in their employees? What two things have you noticed organizations do? I know PCL is a data-driven organization. Now, what two things have you seen these organizations do that work?
Can you take the question again?
So, speaking about deploying, making sure that your employees know what they're doing while using AI and not using AI as vanilla, what two things can organizations do to make sure that their employees are doing the work and actually deploying AI?
Okay, so I think that I will tie it into the capabilities areas that organizations need to focus on, right? And one would be in terms of, everybody here has mentioned it, in terms of data and AI literacy, right? That should be like a number one priority area for any organization to focus on in terms of developing those capabilities within their organization. So in terms of what can you do with data, right? Not just I know how to use Excel, but when you're looking at Excel, can I interpret, can I tell a story, right? In terms of AI literacy. So if you're in maybe the HR department, the commercial department, what are the AI tools that are applicable? And then you begin to build those capabilities. And then the second one also would be in terms of the human sense capabilities. And I think everybody has mentioned it one way or the other. So in terms of communication, in terms of making judgments, in terms of adaptability. So yes, AI is here to stay. But how adaptable are you? My chairman will always say that adaptability is the new currency. So can you unlearn fast? Can you relearn? Right? And so those are the different capabilities that organizations need to focus on to make sure that whatever innovation, whatever initiatives that they are driving in line with making sure that they are AI driven, focusing on those capability areas would actually make them scale faster, because within those capabilities also there are stack of skills. So you can say human sense, where you can have a stack of skills that relates to human sense, so communication, judgment, stakeholder management, influence management, and all of that. And you also have the AI literacy, different skills also apply to it. So building those capabilities within your organization will definitely help you scale faster.
Thank you very much. And my next question, I'll be directing it to Emmanuel. Now, this particular question is something that I'm looking forward to, because I've noticed that with AI in Nigeria, we always want to do it ourselves. We always want to try our luck, put our leg a little bit in the shallow part of the pool. But what partnerships do you think we need to focus on in order to grow when it comes to AI? What partnerships should Nigeria and our ecosystems generally focus on for AI to grow in Nigeria?
Okay. I mean, there are a lot of partnerships. I know for one I'll mention is I think last year, OpenAI Academy. Um, um, OpenAI opened an academy in Nigeria, partnering with University of I think University of Lagos, right? So those kind of partnerships are things we need to look at and things we need to like invest in. Basically, the just train students on AI literacy, how to use that. We also have things like the 3MCT program, that's the 3 million talents program, the government initiative with the aim of like training over 3 million um, Nigerian talents. This is something also that we are also partnered with. So yeah, those are the kind of partnership I think we should invest in um, because they literally just train these talents and bring it AI literacy. Um, yeah, I think those are the top programs I would say we should partner with.
Thank you very, very much. Now we're going to be moving to the audience questions. And thank you for this very wonderful question. And thank you for also having a fine handwriting, because I would have been very confused. I'll start with this question, and this one is thrown out to everybody or anybody that would be answering. The question is this says, thank you so much to the panelists for fashion-centered centerpreneur. How can you apply AI to your business and to your team, especially in the footwear industry? Who is going to take it? Should I do any mini money more?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure my other panelists have a bunch of things to say. So for fashion industry, right? I think a bunch of things you can do. There's their products is also like worked on around like where we are trying to for fashion. There's like a 3D augmented reality where you can actually like use AI to try out your dress, right, or your outfit basically. You can change your shoes, you can wear glasses, all this already exists, right? So those are things you can use AI to integrate into your product. You can also recommend outfits for you based off of your style, right? So yeah, I think those are things you can try.
So one of the things I would say is, in the fashion industry is big on inspiration and visualization. So I have a friend who make arts, and usually use an ascot. He's a Nigerian guy, and he lives in the UK, and in the last 3 years, he's leapfrogged in his visibility and profitability by using AI. And so we had he came to me on Boxing Day, and I was just trying to say, bros, what's the secret? And he said basically AI has revolutionized his business because before they used to have away days thinking what style should we do, how do we do this? They would just prompt several AI tools and say, okay, the best guys in this area that are grossing the highest margins, that are having the highest customers, tell me about them. Then when the answer comes, I just say, okay, what are the winning designs that most people are buying? Show me what it is. How can I adapt that into my style? So it's prompting and then personalization. And that has been a difference in his business. This is real case study. And he said he's gone from doing about 20 hats for Ascot to doing over 100 by just using. So he's got about 80% growth by investing in AI tools for visualization, inspiration, and Instead of going away for 3 days where they kind of do visualization, they just use about half a day now. AI has helped them and they saved a lot of time and money.
All right, thank you. Thank you very, very much. So we have 3 questions here, and now I am forced to pick between one because our time is almost up, if not already up. Is it? Do we still have time? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much to our host. All right. This question says, as a data annotator, where I train AI models by labeling images, audio, text, and video data, I'm interested in transitioning into the HR space. However, from what we are seeing in the data and statistics shared, many companies in our country are not yet fully AI ready, with only a small percentage having truly integrated AI into their operations. Given this level of AI adoption, which areas of HR can best benefit from my background in data annotation, even before advanced AI systems become widespread? Mr. HR, sir.
I was actually expecting that. Okay, yeah, that's good. And that question actually crossed my discipline and my work, which is CTO and also HR. So maybe speaking personally to that person would help. But what I would say generally is that every aspect actually requires AI data, as the person have said. But what I would say again, but companies again are not very ready, where it would be very useful would be in workforce planning and payroll in Nigeria. Well, I would have said workforce planning, but most organizations again pay lip service to workforce planning in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, because there are so many day-to-day things that they are doing that they don't have time to actually. As I have many of my customers who actually want workforce planning, but when it's time to use it, they don't have strategy, they don't have the competency framework for it to know what succession would be there. So we are still developing it. So that would have been the best place to actually be able to tag the right job role, the right labeling, and use that data to help leadership and executive management. But most companies, again, like the person said, are not ready. But using that skill in every aspect of HR, it could be recruitment, it could be performance management. Just look for what is more demanding, most demanded in the company you want to work with or work for, and actually lean towards that, learn more of that, and use it. Payroll is important because everybody must get paid. And if you ask most executives, what's your payroll body? They know the total. How is it being distributed? Most of them don't know. What's the variance? They just look at variance from last month. Once it's not beyond a particular threshold, they approve. They don't check where is this coming from. Am I saving cost here? Am I doing all that stuff? Which is very important because in Africa we are still more pay driven than even performance. Like we like performance, but every month when every CEO, every CFO or HR is approving payroll, they are like, this thing is going up again. How do I make it come down? How do I do this? So I think payroll or performance management for now, or as the company grows, and I would say, allow me to end with this. I think 2026, Africa will be more ready than previous years. Most other parts of the world are more ready now and using AI more than us. But I think Africa have now seen that AI has come to stay. In 2025, they've seen that AI has come to stay. People are embracing it more. People are using it more. Gone are the days where someone will say, I think you use ChatGPT for it. Don't use ChatGPT, build it yourself. Now people are even telling you, use AI to brainstorm, do this. Why are you giving me something this mediocre? Let me show you just to. So leaders are now training people. So people are embracing it. So I think people will now be more conscious about data. And I think that person can also start, maybe work with AI in Nigeria or work with anybody on the panel to start this preaching of data. Data is as important as AI. And I'm very happy the person is a data engineer or analyst.
Dust your CV or come and give it to AI. Thank you. Yes.
So thank you very much. I mean, and I think that's very apt. I just wanted to add that, for many years, there's been this conversation around HR getting a table at the same. It's a very popular conversation, but I think, and there is a very high likelihood that the MD of a company listens to the CFO or the finance director than the HR director. Why? Because CFO is coming to say, this is how we save our money, this is how we make our money. HR is coming to train your people, do employee engineering. Say, we are paying. Now, but it's shifting, right? And one of the ways it has shifted, or it is shifting, and one of the ways it can shift further is that HR needs to become a lot more data driven, right? So we have something called evidence-based HR now. So it's a lot of data. So you're not just coming to tell the MD, train 5 people. You're saying, train 5 people. And when you train 5 people, this is the ROI on training these 5 people. And then you can leverage AI to give you better data, to be able to have those presentations and have those conversations. And of course, it becomes a lot easier for HR to be very prominent at the table. That's what I usually.
All right, thank you very much. Ma'am, would you like to say a few words to wrap up? Because I don't think we have time.
I think to wrap up, I wanted to respond to the person that asked the question around using AI in fashion. So I've used it. So I have a ready-to-wear brand, and I've used it, and it has really helped. In terms of, in fashion, when you want to do a bit of conceptualization, when you're thinking about your design, how do you want to go about it? If you use prompting, you just need to know how to prompt it. So I'm thinking about a particular design. I have like the silhouette in my mind, and then I just prompt and tell it, okay, this is what I'm thinking. Can you bring it to life? And then it brings it to life. Even in terms of colors, in terms of pictures, it just brings different inspiration, and you're able to use it to bring your design alive. So yes, there are a lot of AI tools that you can leverage on when it comes to fashion. That definitely makes your work very easy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for my able panelists. Thank you so much. And I'm guessing that is the end of this panel session. But once again, do well to remind people to watch the rebroadcast, all right? Play it, let them know that something is going on, and we as Nigerians really need to understand the power of AI. AI is not taking your job. AI is helping your job, and you need to help it help you. All right? Thank you so much, and thank you, my panelists. Very big thank you to our lovely, lovely panelists for their robust submissions today. And not just robust submissions, I think they were very practical submissions. And for those people we couldn't take their questions because of time, because we like to respect our audience's time, you can please reach out to the panelists. They could answer your questions afterwards. There's going to be a lot of time for networking. So thank you so much. Thank you very much to our panelists once again for sharing their insights on the panel. I'll say this first panel has been the cake. We're about to get the icing on the cake, and we have another lineup of speakers who will give us the icing to the cake this afternoon. And in no particular order, I'll be mentioning my panelists, but this panel is all about talent, technology, and transformation, reinventing organizations for the intelligent age. And if you thought you've heard it all on the first panel, you're about to hear even more on this second panel. So I'll be making mention my panelists right now in no particular order. First on this panel is the founder and director of Kendall Consulting Limited, Dr. Adora Ikwemsi. Please put your hands together for Dr. Adora as she comes up stage. And next on this panel is country manager, Great Place to Work, Otamere Elegon. Please put your hands together for Otamere Elegon as it comes up.
Next on this panel is Associate Director, People and Organization Practice at PwC Nigeria, Oluwatoyin David. Please put your hands together for Oluwatoyin as she comes up. Please keep clapping till she comes up stage, please. Next on my panel is Managing Director of Recruiting Consulting, Michael Alassa. Round of applause for Michael Alassa, please, as he comes up. And moderating this panel is the head of People, Performance and Culture at JAN, Adalbi Okoye. Please, a round of applause for Adalbi Okoye as she comes moderate this panel on reinventing organizations for the intelligent age. I'm sure it's going to be a very robust conversation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I believe the conversations have been very insightful. I came and listening to the previous panelists. The conversations were very interesting and insightful. And so one thing for me that listening to their conversation was AI, automation, and digital transformation is currently reshaping job roles, and it's also creating new expectations for workers and employers alike. So I think I'll just dive into our conversations for today, and I'll be starting with my first panelist for today, which is Oluwatoyin. Okay, so Oluwatoyin, many organizations are investing in AI tools, but not redesigning their workforce models. What does digital transformation, why do they often fail? And how can we actually deliver real productivity gains?
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. Okay. Okay, so I think bringing it down to Nigeria, the first thing is copy syndrome. So everybody is doing it. I want to do it. But when you talk about real transformation, it has to be business driven. There needs to be a business case for why you are even investing in that technology that you have chosen. So as I'm speaking now, in my family, with my kids, if they want me to do anything, I tell them, you have to make a presentation to me. I need to know why you want to do what you want to do. So sometime last year, my son was going to talk about his university choices. And I said to him, make a presentation. And then he sent me something. When I opened it, the first line threw me off. I knew it was something he got from AI, right? And I then said to him, when you're ready to have real conversations from your heart, let me know. Because what I saw from what he sent was he just wanted to, he picked those schools because he had friends in the schools, right? But I then, had a sit down with him to actually take him through a proper thought process for picking a university. So it doesn't have to be that you have friends in that school. Now, that also sometimes comes into some of the decisions that we make as organizations. So everyone is talking about ChatGPT. You also want to invest in ChatGPT without even thinking about whether it would serve you in your business. Without even thinking about whether your business is ripe for that technology. Without thinking about whether your workforce is even ready for that technology. So the moment you make that kind of investment without a proper thought process around how that fits into your business strategy, you are already setting up the organization for failure. Another thing also is seeing technology as a standalone. But in every organization, there is people, there is processes, and there is technology. And there needs to be a proper handshake amongst the three. If you pick out technology, now when you deploy, what happens? You still need some people to use that technology. So if you do not manage that integration between people and technology, then the technology will fail. you are also integrating this technology into maybe an existing process or a new process that you are looking to integrate into the business. If you decide to just randomly digitize an inefficient process without going into the root cause of why that process is even inefficient in the first place, what you will end up doing is really amplifying the inefficiencies that already exist. So what you need to do is to ensure that there is proper integration between people, technology, and your processes. Now, talking about people, you also need to get your workforce ready. After deploying the technology or the AI tool, what happens? Don't also forget that there is already this agitation that AI is coming to take your job. So there will be resistance from the workforce. But a way to manage that is with proper change management and stakeholder engagement. If you fail at doing that, you've already set up your investment in technology for failure because there will be resistance. You will then be in a situation where you have this fantastic tool, but no one is using it because they are worried that this tool is here to replace them. What else can I make of? Yeah, I'll stop there.
All right, thank you, thank you. So we have one more panelist that will be replacing Dr. Adora. Her name is Olajumoke Akindolire. Please a warm round of applause for her. Okay. All right, so my next question will be going to Tamiri. I hope I got that right. Okay. As AI reshapes the workforce, how is the definition of a great workplace evolving globally and within Nigeria?
Thank you very much. It's great to be here this morning. Great place to work, where I work, is the Global Authority on Workplace Culture. And for us, emphasis is around trust. We believe that the reason why companies are great workplaces is based on the levels of trust that exist in these companies. Do employees trust themselves? The employees trust senior leaders. The employees trust what they do on a daily basis. And so practically, we see that even with AI, like with other industrial revolutions, from the first one where it was on mechanization up to where we now had mass production and where we had computer and automation, emphasis has always been around, do I trust this process? Am I sure that senior leaders can be accountable in terms of what they say this would do? Are we having great conversations around this new technology, like she mentioned earlier on? No matter how great this technology is, if people don't trust it, they are likely to begin to sabotage it. And so emphasis around how we are having those conversations and employees being trustful of the fact that management is honest about what this product is about to achieve or this technology is going to do for us. Is it going to replace our job or is it going to help augment this whole process? Is it going to make me better or is it going to basically take me out of the equation? And so being able to have all of those conversations are what is driving great workplaces. And so emphasis around psychological safety at work, emphasis around inclusion and equity at work, which are critical in this space, are important in driving and building the great workplaces that we see globally.
Thank you for that response. Jumoke, my next question is for you. Many leaders intellectually accept transformation, but struggle behaviorally to implement it. Why does this resistance occur, and how can organizations overcome it?
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Is it afternoon? It's afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. That question has multiple sides to it, and I will say this because we have experienced it on different levels with the different organizations that I work with. And one of the greatest reasons why people resist change is just habits. Habits, we already have habits. We already have the way that we go about our lives generally You come to the boss, take instructions, go back, get your work done. The longer it takes you to get the work done, the harder it is, or the more complex it is that the task appears to be. And then you come back, get your stars and move on, right? But with AI, everything is getting faster, everything is getting easier. There are frameworks, there are agents now. So my team members are not just human beings, there are now team members with AI agents as well. So how does this affect my rate of promotion if AI can do it faster? So I think one of the first things we need to consider when we're talking about change is how it affects me. Because as individuals, the first question you ask yourself is what's in it for me? So if it's a process efficiency tool, I get that. But if it is coming to one day replace me, then I'm skeptical. So the first thing we need to understand when it comes to change management is the why. Why are we making these changes? Why are we adopting AI? Why are we bringing up new technology? Is it that we need process efficiency? Is it that what exactly is the reason? And I didn't get your name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry. Otamere, thank you so much. Like he said so skillfully, it is, let's be transparent. If we're transparent about it, then people will be less resistant to it because people know their place. One thing I want us to remember is that people don't just resist change. They resist the uncertainty of not knowing their place within the change. So if I know what my role is, if I know what the outcomes are for me within the change management framework, then I am more willing to accept it. So I think we have, number one, we have cultural issues where people feel like, oh, if we adopt AI or we move into the next century, then I might lose my ability to have authority over the people that I work with. But here's the thing, if I see AI as a tool, because technology is neither good or bad, right? It's how we use it that matters. So if I see it as a tool, if I know the why my organization is adopting it, I know my role within it, the whole change management process, then I'm more open to working with it and ensuring that we maximize the productivity that can come from it.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Elijah. Okay. Please, we're going to clap. Let's clap. Thank you. All right, so my next question is for Michael. And it's, as talent becomes more mobile and digitally aware, what are the most decisive factors influencing where top Nigerian talent chooses to work? And how should organizations reposition their employer value proposition to remain competitive? Did you get that?
All right, thank you very much for the question. I'd like to acknowledge FOP. It's a great pleasure to see you again, sir. I'm an ex-Philips Consulting Group members. Oh, thank you, sir. So to the question, now, you see, the talents we have right now, they are now becoming smarter. So we are drastically moving to a very smart workforce compared to what it used to be. So for our talents, they are highly exposed to a lot of information. Gone are the days whereby information are being hoarded and they don't really have access to most of this. And now AI has really disrupted that space. So accessibility to a lot of information, and it has also helped them to be technically aware about a lot of information that they need to use to develop themselves. Now, for talents that we now have right now, drastically, maybe because of the economy where we found ourselves, which is intelligence economy right now, loyalty from employers has drastically moved to personal, let me say, personal development, capability development. So now they are looking inwards, they are looking personally to, okay, how can I actually be well positioned? How can I actually develop myself? How can I actually, look into most of these organizations that I want to be part of? So with the access to a lot of information they've had, they are now critically looking into organizations. Okay, so for this organization, in the next few years, will I be relevant by joining them? For this organization, are they technologically matured because of the new era where we found ourselves? And so it's not all about the EVPs that most organizations had before. Whereby you talk about fat salary, you talk about all those retention strategy. Now it has gone beyond that. Also, they're also looking into the growth platform. So me joining this organization, I actually have access to a platform whereby I can grow. So talents nowadays, they know what they want because of the exposure of this information that is now very much available. They are now very, very intentional about whichever organization they want. So for employers, for organizations, so it goes beyond, oh, okay, we want to look into salaries, what they should be looking more into, okay, they should have a growth platform whereby talents can consistently be empowered, you know, intelligently, and of course, in terms of the skill sets that are needed, with the introduction of AI and the evolution that is currently happening. Because if you should look at the future of work, I think AI is overflowed itself. AI is overflowed because the evolution of future of work starts with digitization to AI, now to agentic intelligence, and then straight forward to synthetic intelligence, and then we are moving towards the cognitive era or the cognitive community. So I think we should look at the likes of Tesla. Tesla right now is currently in the synthetic SI, and some organizations are also moving to the aspect of agentic intelligence. So we should look at that expectation, that demand that has disrupted the space. A talent will not want to join an organization that is still maybe at digitization stage, whereby maybe they have already evolved to the level of agentic stage. So those are the pros and cons they are actually going to look into to say, okay, I don't think my growth level is actually aligning with this organization. I rather want to work with another organization that is forward thinking, and they are also technologically aware about what is expected for the future, and even in terms of competitiveness with other competitors in the space. So these are the things they are actually considering. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that response. So, like you said, so individuals are also some sort interviewing companies that they are going into. So it's not just you interviewing individuals, they're also interviewing organizations that they go into. So my next question comes back to you, Oluwatoyin. How should organizations rethink job design and performance metrics in AI-enabled workplaces?
So I'd say the first thing is to even change our mindset around performance evaluation. So we need to move from being task oriented to result driven. A lot of times you find that there is motion without actual movement. So we need to redesign our performance evaluation system in a way that it actually acknowledges the actual result from all of those activities. Because now that we have AI in the mix, there is a whole lot that can be automated within the organization, which then means that the people that are left within the organization are pushed to more strategic, type of work that requires strategic thinking, problem solving skills, learning agility, because AI is evolving, technology is evolving. You really need people within your workforce that can very quickly change or adapt as these changes are happening. And your performance evaluation system needs to be such that it actually acknowledges all of these evolution and the people that are well aligned and in tune with some of those changes. We also need to understand that yes, technology has come to stay. So your performance evaluation system needs to also align with that change in technology. We can't continue to do things the old way and expect a different result. So your performance evaluation, you mentioned earlier that we have a new generation of workforce that require different things from the organization. Some people want flexibility. Some people just want an organization where they can grow. As you are giving to these people, you also need to ensure that
whatever value that, yes, so it should be value based. It should really be what impact and contribution are these individuals making to the organization from a strategic standpoint as against being operational and just driving so many tasks without an actual result.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Oluwatoyi. My next question will be for Otamire. Hybrid and remote work are now structural realities. How should organizations design work culture to sustain performance and collaboration?
Okay, taking a cue from what you had said, it goes beyond where we are today, where it's about being present at work to become measuring outcomes. So when we talk about hybrid situations, we're looking at if Mr. A is working at home, how can we measure the outcomes? We have, especially with the Gen Zs in this day, there's this emphasis around, I don't need to be at work to show that I'm productive. And we get that because I'm kudos to this set of people. They have helped to revolutionize the way we see work. Because we could have people at work, what we call presenteeism. We're not actually delivering on the objectives that are critical. And so being able to measure outcomes will be critical. And from the Nigerian perspective, I know a bank that post-COVID, I will not mention them, they are a client of ours. But before COVID, they already began to plan around hybrid options. And so they considered workspaces for the employees. They considered allowances around generator fuel allowances for the employees to make sure that while they moved into that hybrid transition, employees who are there are able to work effectively. So for most of us, COVID came and changed this equation. But for this organization, which is in the banking sector, they already began to think around that. And so emphasis around also to say, how do we ensure that leaders or managers are effectively collaborating with those who work within their spaces? How are we ensuring that across functions, that there's a great levels of alignment, even when we are working off from the office, will be critical to ensuring that we're able to achieve great productivity for the business at the end of the day. So that's some of those elements I look at.
All right, thank you, Otamire. Okay, I'll come to your Olajumoke. So my question to you is, what mindset shifts must Nigerian business leaders adopt to remain globally competitive in talent leadership?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I think that's the retreat topic for many boards these days. How do we stay globally relevant and attract the best talent, especially in the age of Japa and Japada? Yes, because people go and they come back, right? And then also being able to compete with the salaries that are being dangled in front of your best staff and the option of work from anywhere. So now that we've stated all the problems, now let's get to the solutions. I think first, leaders need to acknowledge that retention numbers as a whole don't necessarily speak to proper talent management. So what that means is that as a business, you're measuring regrettable attrition, not just attrition as a whole. Because there are some people who leave that you're like, good riddance. We're happy to see you go. Thank you so much. But then there are people who leave and then it hurts the business. So we're looking at how do we ensure we have proper knowledge management systems. Because attrition is not a maybe. It's a definite, there are two things that are certain, death and taxes, right? Let's add attrition to that. So how do we mitigate the risk, the challenges that come with, this mobility that is confronting all of us? So leaders first need to think that attrition is not a bad thing. It's just something that will happen. So how do we mitigate that? Knowledge management. How do we ensure that we have a great place to work, that people want to stay with us beyond just the remuneration? Then the other part is understanding that learning is no longer optional. It has never been optional, but now more than ever, it no longer is. So if my organization is not moving forward in terms of people, process, and technology, then I'm already a dinosaur. So let's agree on that one. Now, how do I stay globally relevant? Beyond understanding global best practices, what I always tell my clients is best practice is only best when it's what's best for your business. Your environment, your business environment may not allow you to practice some best practices. However, are there alternatives and ways that you can adapt those best practice frameworks within your context that works for your business? So another thing we have to deal with, even when working with AI, is context engineering. You need to understand your context. While some businesses are happy to be at the 90th percentile of remuneration, want to pay the highest in the market, want to attract the best, and all of that, some know they can only afford to be at the 50th percentile. So what else can we do to bring people on board? Can we sell a shared vision? Can we sell engagement? Can we sell knowledge, learning, and opportunities, growth opportunities? Because there are some organizations that have accepted that we're going to be the training ground for everybody. Right? We will train, they will go, but they will become our ambassadors. So they help us get business. So business people, business leaders need to think not just as managers, but as curators of business sustainability. And then now think outside the box as to how can we maximize this conundrum that we all find ourselves. And sometimes it's not in risk management. There are ways like to manage risk. There's the ones that you can fully mitigate. There's ones that you have to accept, and there's some that you have to put measures in place. So business managers are risk managers. You're now thinking, what are the combination of things that I can do to ensure that I am globally relevant, that best practices work in my context, and that even if you ask my staff anywhere, they're still ambassadors for my business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the round of applause. I think that also speaks to value proposition that Michael responded to. So, Michael, my next question for you is: what does a truly AI-ready organization structure look like in Nigeria today?
Professor Ademola. Okay, it's not yet. He really shared a lot around the statistics of what AI adoption is currently in Nigeria. And it's actually a very huge gap. And at Recruiting, we've actually handled a lot of clients who have reached out to us, okay, come and conduct workforce transformation for us, HR transformation, a lot of projects. And we discovered that around the conversation, most of what they are actually going to be talking about is technology adoption. And this is what most employers, or don't let me say most, a percentage, a good number of most of these organizations, this is what they actually understand, that, oh, once it is AI, the next thing is you get AI tools and what have you. Whereas what AI has come to do is AI is not actually the disruptor. In the real sense, we humans, we people, are actually the disruptor, because we are the ones that we unlearn to relearn and then learn other things that we need to. So through that, we discovered that the problem is critically the structure of the organization. And just like our past president and chairman of SIBM talk about, you bringing in fresh wine into an old skin wine. So you can't actually neglect your structure, which is not actually ready to absorb, AI innovation and what have you, and then you actually want to introduce AI technology tools. Yeah, you get them, but the people that you actually want to introduce this to, have you actually trained them? Have you equipped them? Have you actually made them to be equipped for them to understand that, okay, this is the way forward? So for me, and when it comes to an organization that is actually AI ready, there are some things we look at. It is how intelligence flows within the organization. And if I'm actually going to break that down in terms of intelligence, we're talking about data. We're talking about information. We're talking about knowledge sharing. We're talking about the wisdom on how they even use this information, to transform the organization. And if you look at it further, we have to break it down to how this information, or let me say, how this intelligence flows top down and down up, and even between peer to peer, because this is how an organization transforms, and this is where most of these leaders and even board miss it, because all what they think is they see more of activities, thinking that the organization is actually transforming, and not looking deeply into, is the organization actually transforming in terms of their capacity, in terms of the execution place of using AI to, to advance the business. So, and one of the things I've also discovered and seen from most of the clients that we've engaged is that there's a legacy problem with the founders. So you can't come and tell me that as the owner of the business, I have done this, that has sustained the business for years, which has created an identity for my business. So for example, PwC has an identity. PCL has an identity. I even remember PCL, there was an identity that was existing, and then they transformed to a bigger identity, which we know today. So AI also is readdressing the identity of organizations, which is more like a mirror showing you your inefficiencies, telling you where you need to improve, telling you what and what you need to bring on board and what you need to discard. So many founders, many business leaders, they are very scared. They are comfortable in what they are already used to, instead of them, jumping at, or let me say, absorbing and adopting uncertainty. So for them, they have to let go of hoarding of information. They have to also think beyond just authority metrics. Everything must be from the top. No, we have most of these talents that are very, very intelligent. So you must create that platform for them to also, share ideas that can also improve the organization, and also how to navigate and make good use of this information to progress the organization. There are a lot of legacy issues, most of these employers. And you see, we consultants, when we want to discuss with most of these business owners, managers, leaders, and they want us to do maybe workforce transformation for them, the first thing we'll tell them is, okay, we need your buy-in, right? Stakeholders buy-in and what have you. Yeah, it's good. But at the same time, when they tell you, oh, don't worry, as the CEO, as the director, don't worry, you have my buy-in, let us progress. That buy-in itself is relative, because you can define it, is it 60%, is it 20%? Because they're not fully, some of them are not fully, yeah, they have understanding about this technology we are talking about, but most of them have not fully embraced, this AI of a thing. It's okay, I want to let go of what I know. Now, this is the new shift of what it is. For example, there's an organization that I know very well that is doing so well right now. But by the time we did a audit, they are currently still in digitization phase in this 2026, and they are big. And I'm like, wow, digitization stage, instead of them to even be to be thinking of agentic intelligence. And we are talking about AI. So at this particular time, a big organization that is still in digitization, they've not even progressed to AI. So how do you want them to fast track, that progress? So for an organization that is AI ready, of course, the way information flows, intelligence information flows across the organization, that has to be looked into. Capability empowerment, being able to give them the platform, because with AI, new roles will be evolving, and the value creation will also be redefined. Because if you're doing ABCD and you introduce AI into the organization, doing those processes, then you need to redefine their value creation. So that is also one of the things you look into, as well. Then information as well. Don't hoard information. Make sure that they have that accessibility to a lot of information. And then for the authority matrix, over time, it's actually going to be weakened, with this influx of AI, it's going to be weakened. So leaders need to start, understanding how to balance it, in such a way that that place of it's more of intelligence against authority. So they need to embrace more of intelligence matrix. Thank you very much.
Very sound response. Thank you. So I think we're coming to the end of our segment. So let's start putting down our questions. Our physical, okay, they can speak. Okay, all right. So our online audience, please start dropping your questions. We'll be taking it at the end of the session. Okay, so as we wrap up, my final question to Oluwatoyin, from PwC's advisory experience, what distinguishes organizations that successfully embed AI from those that struggle?
Okay, so from a PwC standpoint, our slogan is people-led and technology-enabled. So you need to put people first, right? Your people have to be at the center of whatever it is you're doing. The moment you isolate technology from everything else or everyone else, you're already setting up yourself for failure, right? People will use the technology, which also means that you need to invest a lot in upskilling and reskilling, right? If you are not willing to make that investment, again, you're already setting up yourself for failure. From a PwC standpoint, if as I was sitting there, I got an email this morning for some upgrade that is already planned to happen in the next 6 months. But they've already started, setting up meetings, working sessions, just so that, they get us ready for implementation in 6 months' time. Sometimes you also need to understand that there is something called fatigue. People experience technology fatigue. If you are one to jump at every technology that comes your way or every technology you hear about, you are likely to create technology fatigue within your organization. And then it becomes a case of, oh, this is something new. Before your employees even get used to this new technology, you're already introducing something else. So it always helps to pace it out properly such that, people are familiar with what they are doing currently. And if it's an upgrade that is going to happen, sometime down the line, they know that it's an upgrade, not that you're abandoning one and then you're moving to something else. Another thing as well, okay, I already talked about training. That is very important. You need to ensure that your employees are ready for implementation. But one very big thing is around change management. Like she said earlier, what creates fear is not really the change itself, it's the uncertainty. And you need to be there with your employees all through the journey, managing the uncertainty. You need to create that trusted relationship where they know that this new technology that is coming is not here to take their jobs. So you need to properly manage that change management process, which means that the objective for even introducing that technology in the first place is clear. Everybody understands it. It's communicated clearly and properly documented as well. You also need to show very transparently the commitment that the organization is willing to make into reskilling and upskilling these people. You need to also ensure that the tone at the top, because people look at the tone at the top, which means that everyone within the organization will be looking to what leadership is doing in terms of the transition. If they see if the tone at the top is that this technology is just coming to change things and people will lose their jobs, then that technology is not going to thrive. So change management, very important. Training, upskilling, reskilling, very important. What was the first thing I said? I don't remember.
All right, thank you. So one more question for Tamiri. how can organization measure employee experience in AI-enabled workplaces beyond the traditional engagement surveys that we use today?
And so, for us, or rather for employee engagement surveys, it's usually around emotions, around sentiments. But for the AI-driven ones, emphasis now begins to go to levels around levels of understanding, levels of acceptance of technology. Compliance alone would not help. A number of companies are driven by compliance. They say we should do it and we get it done. We should get it done. And so being able to measure to see how well employees are fully embraced this new technology will be important, different from what we're doing around the normal engagement surveys. Also, the need to constantly measure levels of improvements around this process. Also, too, I would say a need that we are constantly. So, for instance, the employee engagement surveys are probably once a year with AI measurements or tools or enhancements. We want to be able to see how effectively that is done, maybe on a quarterly basis, to see and ensure that because technology is constantly on the rise and always improving, you want to be able to see that your employees, one, know what this is about, they embrace it. So you want to be able to see across functions, across roles, what's the level of understanding of this technology, what's the level of acceptance of this technology that we have available, so that we are sure that this technology is going to thrive in the long run. So that's some of those areas that we measure beyond emotional.
So it's okay. All right, so this is my last question, and I think it's open to all the panelists. But I'll start with you, Michael. What leadership capability will define success in the next 5 years?
Okay, leadership capability. So I mentioned earlier about most leaders, they have a lot of legacy issues. And for them, it's just like you want to adopt AI, but you're not ready to change your system. It's actually dead on arrival. So for them, it's more of basically learning agility. It's for them to be open to learning, training, and also being able to understand that now is the new era for them to actually, embrace the technology that is actually expected, or let me say the movement of intelligence within an organization. So for them, they need to understand that first, because they are majorly the problem. With all this AI of a thing, like for example, if you are looking at the cadre level or categorization level of employees who are maybe from senior management level downwards, in terms of their decision making and what have you, everything still falls back to the leadership. So if we are talking about AI integration, AI that, and the leader at the top is not totally into it, it's going to be a very big problem. So for them, they need to understand that now is the time. They need to unlearn, to embrace a lot of learnings. That's one. Two, they also need to understand that there is a need for this governance structure, for their organization. How is AI meant to be driven in the organization? So I forgot to mention that in the last question you asked me, because governance structure in terms of AI integration, adoption is quite very important. And they need to understand how does it work? What are the principles, what are the expectations, that they need to put into the framework, transparency, and a lot of things around governance. And then thirdly, they also need to put into consideration the innovation cycle stage. I mean, cycle turnaround time for most of their talent. So how often do they recreate? How often do they re-evolve most of their processes, most of their products, most of all those things that they are meant to do? That innovation cycle is quite very important to them. And I mentioned the last time, information hoarding too, they need to scrap that out. They need to be more open. They need to think of a better way of how well information should be, moved around peer-to-peer, top down, and of course down up, how that should actually, and of course with external competitors, or let me say with external clients and what have you. They need to look into that. Another thing they need to also consider is the aspect of, I was talking about capability. There's also another one I wanted to mention, too, it skipped my mind. But there's a lot of metrics the leaders can actually put in place to be AI driven, because they are the main driver of technology evolution in every organization.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you for that response. A round of applause for him. So I will take that question just to Olajumoke, okay, and that'll be our last response for this session. Just asking the same question: what leadership capability will define success in the next 5 years?
Right. Okay. So I think it will be three things for me. First would be leaders as conductors and not instructors. So what that means is, as a leader, your role is to harmonize the resources you have, the intelligence you have, the technology you have, and ensure that they are able to maximize output. Your job is not just to tell people what to do, it's to show the big picture and allow people evolve into who they need to be able to execute. I always, well, I don't always, but I think I will start to always say that AI provides the intelligence while leadership provides the wisdom. The experience is there, and so your job is to channel it properly. The second thing I would say is, because we're dealing with new territories here, I know AI has been around for a little bit, but regulation will always catch up with innovation and not the other way around. So regulation is still evolving to accommodate AI. So you are your own business regulator. You need to ensure that things are being done properly, ethically, without the bias that comes inherently with AI. Because again, the sample data used to train AI is not local. Most of the AI models that we use are international. So they've not really adjusted for context. So as a business leader, your job is to spot those biases, understand these compliance issues, ensure that AI is used ethically within your organization, right? And then the third thing I was going to say is, as a leader, your major role or major roles are vision casting and problem solving. You have the vision. So how do we mobilize people to execute that vision? If there's a problem, remove the roadblock and allow your people to work. So that those are the things that I would say.
All right, thank you so much. A round of applause for that. Okay, so do we have physical? Oh, okay, I guess I'll start with the online question, so we can pass the mic. We'll just take 2 questions, and I see someone's hand raised. Okay, so the first question here is: how can organizations balance AI adoption for productivity with preserving human connection and critical thinking in the workplace? With a survey that says users of AI showcased lower IQ. So who's going to answer that?
All right, thanks for that question. So productivity is very key in an organization, and like I mentioned earlier, the mistake most of these leaders actually embrace is the aspect of thinking that, oh, we've gotten most of these technological tools, at least with that they should be running, and they see a lot of activities and what have you, but they should look beyond that. Number one, are they behaviorally changing or evolving in the usage of AI technology, and how they bring that down to what they are currently doing? That's one. Number two, is the organization drastically changing and evolving as well? So it's not only about just activities, or this person can use it. And I think one of the last panelists mentioned something about going beyond just being an AI user to being an AI architect, or an AI builder, So that also should also be looked into, whereby now we now have a lot of talents who understand how to use AI tools to build systems, solutions that can actually help the organization. For someone like me, I'm currently building an AI software, more of, I think it's a mobile app. I don't know how to code, but I'm using AI to do that. using agentic tools, AI to AI. So most of those things, and why am I doing that? Is to actually help me to maximize what I'm doing. Is to help me to, for me to be more productive. So these are the things we can also look into, whereby organizations or leaders can actually create that platform so that it can enhance their high level of productivity. And don't you see, when we are introducing AI into a system, she has spoken so much around change management. She has also highlighted that it's truly change management. And for change management, you must understand that value creation cycle stage. That value creation, if you don't define it very well, whereby an AI is already doing a process for you, you don't define that very, very well for them, it will create an issue for them. So that can also be attributed to their capabilities, because JD now is dead. So we are looking deeply into capabilities. So most of those things that are now needed, the skills that are needed, for them to be relevant on the job, to be more productive on the job, should actually be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I have one more question. Then we'll just take one physical question. With significant investments in digital learning platforms like LinkedIn Learning, DataCamp, etc., to upskill our employees in data literacy, AI fundamentals, we are seeing low adoption rates. How can organizations, especially in the agri-manufacturing sector, drive adoption and engagement and ensure employees leverage these resources provided to them to build future-ready skills? For example, out of 3,300 licenses purchased in 2024, only 1,200 licenses have been taken on, and only 40% of the 1,200 licenses are utilized. Did anyone get that question? It's quite long. Okay, let me just take the question. So it says, how can organizations, especially in the agri-manufacturing sector, drive adoption and engagement and ensure employees leverage these resources provided to them to build future-ready skills? That's the question.
Awesome. So thank you. Worked with the manufacturing firm Coca-Cola HBC. And this was a challenge that we did have because, again, people see learning. So this is more of a learning problem than an AI problem. People see learning as interrupting work. People don't want to take time off work to go and learn. Managers don't want to give their staff time to go and learn. So people see it as an interruption to work. So the first thing we had to do was to allow people understand, and we use the RAR model. It's very simple. Make learning, the first R is make learning relevant. Is it relevant to the work that I'm doing? Is it relevant to my career path? It's not just generic learning. If you can make me see that it's relevant to my work and it will make me more efficient or effective at what I do, then it's no longer interrupting work, it's enabling work. So that's the first thing. So once everybody agrees that we're enabling work with learning, then we move to the next thing, that's accessible. There are digital platforms that allow for us to learn in bite sizes, micro learning, and that's beautiful, that's great. But remember that in the manufacturing setting, because that was a specific example, a good portion of your staff, I dare say 55 to 60%, are those who are working either in the warehouses, on the manufacturing plant floors, and all of that. So many of them don't necessarily sit with their laptops day in, day out. So how do we make it accessible to them? Is it mobile enabled? So how do you want to make learning easy for them? And sometimes we overcomplicate the concept of learning to think that, you have to sit down in a class for 2 hours and learn. But a simple poster on the wall of the manufacturing plant could be transferring knowledge. So rethink how you deliver learning. So we've said 2 things now. RA, it's remaining the other R. So make it relevant, make it accessible to the workforce that you're trying to train. And then the third R is make it rewarding. What do I get from learning? Do I further my career path? Does it enable me to access promotion? Is it even measured in performance management? Is my learning measured? Is it part of the performance management process? Because I come in and I sit with you during my appraisal and nothing speaks to if I have learned during this period, then what is the motivation for me to go and learn? right? So we need to build it into a system of rewards. So that's how we mostly dealt with it at Coke, to say, you know what, let's use RAR model, make it relevant, make it accessible, and make it rewarding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so yes, make it rewarding, but sometimes sanctions also help. In my organization, as an example, there are certain trainings or learnings that are mandatory. And if you do not take those trainings, there are sanctions, right? There is also flexibility around what skills you personally want to develop, right? So I think in the process of trying to develop your own personal skills, you might want to give some leeway for other things that the organization or other skills that the organization wants you to develop. And very importantly, like she said, performance evaluation, performance management, learning. So we have a specific number of trainings that you have to do on a yearly basis, and that forms part of the basis on which you are praised on an annual basis.
All right, thank you so much. All right, please, a round of applause for our panelists. And for those who still have questions, and I was just informed that there will be a networking at the end of this session. So please, you can ask any of the panelists questions that you have. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so let's take. Are we sitting back? So spend 10 minutes. All right, so we'll take the. We have one hand raised. Please let's give her the mic.
Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Basharat. I'm an HR technologist, and in the past few years, I've been really studying Africa's readiness for digital HR. So my question goes to, is it Oluwatoyin at PwC? I have gathered in my own research that it seems a lot of companies in Nigeria are still struggling with digitization. Um, and when it comes to digital transformation, as you said, root cause analysis, doing a current state assessment is extremely important. So, as someone that's also trying to see how I can be a contributor to digital transformation, especially within HR, what is your outlook from your experience when it comes to companies looking to implement HR systems to help their business operations? Do you think that the larger number of companies are starting to dive towards there, or do you think we still have a slow trajectory to get businesses to adopt HR technology within your organization? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Just a bit of caveats. I'm not a core HR specialist. I'm just very interested in HR. So yes, I work at PwC, People and Organization that sits in tax. But because of my personal interest in HR related, work, I also work as part of the workforce transformation team. But what I would say is, yes, there is a lot of buzz about digital transformation, whether in HR or other areas, other aspects of the business. But when it comes to Nigeria, I would say the adoption is really slow and steady, right? One, because a lot of Nigerian businesses or Nigerians generally are risk averse, right? So most people just wait it out to see, they wait to see other people make the mistakes so that they can learn, right? But I would say that it's only a matter of time. We will definitely get there. And it's good that all of these conversations are happening now, just so that a lot more people start to see the benefits of actually using technology. And maybe just to clearly reemphasize again, technology, AI is not here to take anybody's job. Is to enable what we currently do, is to augment and make our lives easier, such that the people that we have in the organization are then better positioned to do strategic thinking, to, solve problems from a more strategic standpoint, whether as an HR specialist or, in whatever function where you're performing within the organization.
Do you have other questions? Any other question in the room?
Thank you. And just to quickly add to that, digitization is expensive, and a couple of organizations can afford to on a large scale. So you're looking for cheaper options, waiting for lack of a better word, copycat models that are more accessible, right? And so that might also be one of the challenges that we face. But what we are seeing now with the advent of AI is democratization of a lot of these technical skills that would have cost you thousands of dollars to build. So people are using AI no code to design apps that make our digital transformation or digitization journey a lot easier and more cost effective. So I think the more we see that happening at scale, the faster we will begin to, or will catch up with the digitization process. A good portion of the time, Africans are not really slow to adopt, but we have lower or less disposable income for these kinds of activities. If you run a business in Nigeria, you know that the cost of doing business is expensive already. I am my own security, I am my own PHCN, I am my own. So I have to pay for a lot of the things that most of the other advanced economies don't have to. So cost of doing business is already high. Then the cost of technology is high as well. However, as AI continues to advance and allow us gateways into democratized technology, then we're able to afford the entry point into the digitization processes, and then we accelerate. Africans, we don't do things halfway. When we start, we tend to catch up.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for that. All right, I guess we've come to the end of the set. Okay, I can see one last hand. Let's pass the microphone to him, since we're told we have more time for questions. So.
Thank you. I'm blessed Saint. From all the discussions, this is what I noticed, and I just want to ask, how do we solve this? Because the reason why we struggle with this adoption issue is because we have wrong structure grooming around education from the beginning. So Africa generally we struggle because it's not part of us. Education is not really part of us on the beginning. So how do we do it? Now we're talking about management, but how do we save the future coming, the generation coming? Because many of times our governments, when they come with STEM and what have you, it's not about development but about politics. They'll tell us they are doing this, and we get to all their schools and curriculum. It looks like it's just the same. So how do we change this? Because if we don't change it, we still keep struggling with adoption. So how do we actually handle that? Thank you.
If we rely on government to get this done, probably we'll be waiting for quite a long time. So it's possible that we begin to have private sector lead the charge, maybe as part of CSR initiatives, where a lot of organizations can see this AI adoption and all of that stuff from grassroots or from primary school levels, so that as part of CSR initiatives, they are supporting that the conversations across to support that growth that is required. That would be my suggestion around it.
So really quickly, I agree with you, but I respectfully disagree. Africans and our education system has been, even though it's not necessarily, it wasn't formalized in the beginning, but we've always been educators. whether it's by storytelling, whether it's by drawing, whether it's by things that were handed down to us. And if you check statistically, uh, maybe in close running with the Asians, we're the most educated people in the world. So education for us is never been the problem. So the change, the speed of change and catching up, leading the charge is where I think we're coming from to say we've never really been the ones leading the charge when it comes to technology. We've always adopted from outside. And so that's why a couple of organizations are looking to design indigenous solutions that is built for Africa, in Africa, by Africans. If we begin to look at it from that perspective, then we will be able to say to or speak to investors. And we say yes, funding, they're cutting funding here and there, impact investment is getting slower and lower. However, we have what it takes to fund Africa in Africa. We just need the structures, as you mentioned, to be able to ensure that there is accountability. We're not just looking at the data in terms of numbers, but we're looking at the data in terms of actual impact. I believe that's the conversation that we're having. And a few organizations are already doing that. I know we have some indigenous organizations like I think ALX. ALX is African, although they are partners with other, they're not paying me for adverts, so I'm going to stop calling names now. But we have some indigenous organizations, African organizations that are trying to deal with those. And as people in whatever spaces that we are in, contribute something. If it's not your funds, contribute your knowledge. Let us start to take charge of the narrative. Let's stop allowing people tell our stories and build for us. Let us start building for export to the rest of the world. So what we need to think about is African technology built by Africans for Africa, but exportable to the rest of the world.
With a round of applause for our panelists. Yes. Thank you. Another round of applause for them. They did a very nice job. Thank you.
A round of applause for Jumoke, and thank you very much for standing in and representing me very well. I just want to buttress what she said because it's something I believe very passionately about. Data, AI relies so much on data. When I stepped out of my house this morning, Google Maps said 26 minutes. Okay? It was relying on data, but it didn't have the data that there was a protest and that the road was blocked. It kept saying 26 minutes, and I was there for an hour and a half. Okay? So why am I saying this? Data is a bedrock, but a big problem that we have in Africa is we lack our own research data. And as long as the data is not our data and does not show it, we can't have the right insights. We can't develop frameworks. Okay? I think the last event we were at, I'm sorry, but I'm tired of using frameworks that are developed with other countries' data. So if we want to succeed, to thrive in Nigeria's AI-driven work economy, the first thing we must do is get our think tanks and heads together, form our own committees and groups of researchers, and let's work and deliver our own frameworks that are research-backed, and let us export our knowledge to the rest of the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our panelists. Finally, it looks like we're taking them back to their seats, up, down, back again. But thank you very much for your submissions, and thank you also to Dr. Adora for braving the traffic. But real quick, we've hit the home run already. I'd like to invite for some final remark this afternoon the chairman of Philips Consulting, Folusho Phillips, Mr. Folusho Phillips, for a final remark. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up for his remark.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And I must say that when I walked in, the room was the standing room only. And kudos to Business Day that have consistently held these different conferences, which have become increasingly relevant in our lives. And I also want to thank the sponsors, Seamless HR and the PCL team, for helping to participate in all this. I've just scribbled a few things, just a few thoughts. I start off by telling you about maybe 15 years ago, 14, 13 years ago, a good friend of mine, a lady called Teresa Clark, one of the vice presidents of Goldman Sachs, she called me and said, FOP, pay attention to AI. I said, hey, what? I said, AI. I said, yeah, I heard about it. She said, yeah, pay attention to it because, you know, that's the new future. And I said, yeah, okay, right. And I ignored her, much to my regret, because when I look at what is happening today, I say to myself, I've lost about 14 years of early mover advantage in understanding and being able to participate actively in this world of AI. Somebody mentioned earlier on that this is maybe the fourth or the fifth generation of change that's taking place in the world. And I describe AI as the new COVID, you know, in a positive way, and even maybe sometimes negative. Remember that COVID had intended and unintended consequences. If you will appreciate, when COVID was at its peak, the whole world came to a standstill, to a halt, right around the whole world. And thereafter, everything changed. The way we work, the way we communicate, the way the digital world came to our rescue, you know, Zoom and Teams, and so many things that just didn't exist. A lot of people took advantage of it, were able to grow on a digital platform. But the world changed because of COVID. And I think that's the same thing we face today with AI. AI is actually redefining and creating a totally new world in a way that one cannot even comprehend. And even I am beginning to sort of say to myself, where does it stop? And yet it has only just started. So the thing about it is that organizations have got to be AI compliant. I mean, that's the bottom line of the discussion we've had today. You really have to be AI compliant. It's a continuous learning thing. Even whilst you can train yourself and learn how to use AI properly, the fact is it has just got to become part of your life. It is not something you put aside. And you're finding that people increasingly learning. Somebody was challenging just recently, in an article a few days ago, saying that we begin to wonder whether there's any need to go to university. Once you're smart, you can read, you're literate, the knowledge you need can always be picked up on the fly as you go, as you require it, just in time. Okay? And people are getting very smart. Talk about somebody having an interview, and they was being interviewed, and the responses were AI generated in the sense that you ask the question and AI is coming out with the answers. And people are learning how this is going to be part of our lives. So you then look at the extent to which organizations are now adopting AI. It's not fast enough, it's not at the level that it should be, but the fact remains that, you know, it is being adopted, and we are not there yet, but we've started that journey. And I talk to even our consultants in the firm. I say, guys, by the time you're going to your clients might even be more knowledgeable about the subject matter they want to deal with, that they want to engage you with, because they've sort of AI'd it, so to speak. So you've got to be able to say to yourself, what value can we offer? And what is becoming very clear to me is that whilst AI can tell you what to do, it can describe all the stages and the steps and all those things still have to be done. You still have to execute. And that's where talent comes in. People have got to do things. You've got to have the competence to even understand what it is it's asking you to do. You've got to have the skills, the capability. Because at the moment, whilst robotic AI is still coming to play, the fact still remains that you still have to do things. AI can help you to design a window or whatever it is that is in our own world right here. But the point is we still need people that can go out and execute. So you're finding that I'll share with you what I tell the firm, my own firm, is that guys, we're about execution. You know, we will go to a company, and I did that a few days ago. I said, I understand your strategy, and it's beautiful, and it's great, and, you know, great thoughts. But how are you going to execute this? How are you going to get the people to execute the strategy and the things you want to do? How are you going to get the right people, the right knowledge, the right character, the right personality, the right skills to be able to execute the things that you want to do? And this issue about execution is very, very key. You know, I've shared with people, and I marvel, and I say it every time, that events planners, I really commend them. You can go to AI now, I think, and say, I want to plan a wedding party, and it tells you all the things you want to do. But you sit at a typical wedding party and watch and see the things that go on, the different things, and I marvel at how, you know, events planners get these things going. People that are sorting out the food, like I've mentioned before. People that are, you know, the compare, the music, the collection, the security, the cleaning up, the setting up, the beautiful things that you see when you walk into a place and it is so well laid out and everything is all shining and nice and exciting. AI can't give you the ideas. It can give you an image for you to replicate, but you still got to go out and do it. And that's the same thing that applies to us in our work life. It can tell you what to do, but we still have to execute. And that's the thing that one is focusing on a lot more now. The power of execution, the power to do. And that's where our talent comes in. The other thing is that, like everything else in Africa, yes, we might be late adopters, but we have the opportunity to lead from. Nothing is more of a great example to us than what we had with the digital world, with the telephone, is the mobile phone. We were light years behind in terms of digital telephony. But when it did turn up, you know, Africa is one of the leading telephone adapters in the world. We leapfrogged. We didn't go through the formal transition process. We sort of jumped in. And we're saying that how can we, again, Africa, how can we leapfrog? How can we sort of neutralize the advantage that the Western world has by us being able to be up and doing and being as competitive as they are? And we can, because we're bright. You know, we are bright people, and I'm not being patronizing. The only problem is that we just don't see the opportunities to show our capabilities. One of the things that we're finding is that we really struggle to find work. We struggle to find an economy that's expanding enough to take and absorb all these capabilities that we have. So we can leapfrog with these things, and we can make sure that it is only useful to us if we actually jump on these things. And we have to be very intentional, somebody said. If we're not intentional, we're not going to be able to do it. Several years ago, the World Economic Forum used to sort of give a publication on IT readiness. Okay, how ready are you as a nation with IT? Today, we have to look at how AI ready are we? AI readiness of countries, of continents. And we have to sort of see that, look at how we can continuously introduce AI into our world, how we can promote it as a way of life on things that we have to do, and how we can accept it into the things that we do every day. Always coming back again to say that the opportunity, apart from what AI does, is the ability to execute these things. So we have our AI developers, as has been said, very, very Africa focused, very local. So we develop our own AI solutions. We're going to advance to that stage. We have AI adopters, those, all of us in this room, whereby we say AI is the way to go, is a way to be able to catch up or be ahead and thrive the rest of the world. And then AI executors, people who can execute what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So I think there's a lot in that. There are issues about confidentiality. Again, I share with you my own in the firm. I tell our consultants, very careful what you put into whatever AI models we use. Make sure that it is still ring fenced, because one day someone's going to ask a question about an organization that will be pulling out from the things that you put in. So there are new rules and regulations and governance and things of that nature that we have to pay attention to ensure that we don't, in the process, destroy the very thing that we thought would actually help us. I chair Standard Chartered Bank Nigeria, and Standard Chartered is a global bank, and we have our own AI platform, and it is very, very powerful because it helps with all the banking things that need to be done. But at the same time, it's very, very ring-fenced, to the extent that I'm not an executive of the bank, and there's certain things that I can't even access. There's certain things I can't send out, I can't print out, because it's all about confidentiality and control. But we'll have to pay attention to that as well. See that if you're doing all these things, you can throw all your knowledge and capabilities and secrets into AI, but just be very careful that there is access in one way or another. We've got to be very, very conscious of it. Recently also, I'm not sure that was EY also, whereby a client said that they wanted a discount on audit work that was done. And they said they were demanding a discount because they know that a certain portion, in fact, they said they wanted a 50% discount because they know that 15% of the work was done by AI. Yeah, and it was an issue. They were saying they do want a discount. We know you didn't have all your consultants or accountants or auditors going up and down and doing all the normal things that should be done, because we know it was AI driven. So, again, the world is changing. So my own message to everybody is that we've got to adopt, it's got to become a way of life. It's got to be the way we do things. I remember, just to close up, my grandson, one day in my study, I actually wrote some numbers out, 3 or 4 rules of numbers, and I asked him to add it up. And he said, "Grandpa, where's your calculator?" I said, "No." I said, "I want you to add it up." He said, "Why? You want the answer? The calculator will give me the answer." I said, "No, I want you to think through the process of adding 9 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. And it was like, if you get the answer, why do you want to do it? So the same thing with AI. If AI will give you the solution, let's just get to the bottom of the thing and see how we're going to execute these things. Anyway, once again, I say thank you to BusinessDay, and I say to all of you, let's get onto this thing. You don't have a choice. There is no alternative, because otherwise you'll be left out of the system. It's like learning to read and write. If you can't get on board with AI, you're going to be left high and dry. So that's my message. I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Speaking of, adoption, AI adoption, and also innovation, I must say that if there's some content I always look forward to online, it will definitely be the content from the founder and the chairman of Philips Consulting, Mr. Folusho Phillips, and I think it's very, very good content. I mean, I'm just saying this. Anyone who has come across it, I think you should definitely go out and search for him online, because he gives good content on Instagram. I'm just saying this free ad. All right. On that note, we'll take quick pictures, and I'll invite back on stage again the chairman of Philips Consulting, Mr. Folusho Phillips, as well as the ED of BusinessDay, Mrs. Ijoma Ude, as well as the associate director, People in Practice, PwC Nigeria, Oluwatoyin David. Please come up for a quick photograph on stage. And also Mr. Otamere Elegbon from Great Place to Work, country manager. Please join us for this photograph as well. Thank you.